Who says a demon lord has to follow any particular rules? Our protagonist, Demon Lord Diaz, is nothing like that. A typical demon lord lurks in the shadows to sow chaos, but also leaves clues proving they're the mastermind behind it. They never attack personally. Instead, they send weak lackeys to train the heroes and let them grow stronger. Even inside their tower, they set low-level monsters and traps suited to the heroes' capabilities. But Diaz was completely different. Outside the tower, he had deployed an elite legion of orcs. At the entrance to the first floor of the tower were 60 massive cannons, all crafted by the greatest dwarf master. On the fourth floor, the opponent the heroes would face was the princess they came to rescue, who is also the most powerful spirit mage. When reality becomes incomprehensible, it sometimes only breeds denial. The atmosphere was utterly dangerous. I couldn't see clearly. How could my proud flame possibly fail to incinerate the heroes? How could that hero's sword pierce my dragon scales and even stab straight into my heart? Unbelievable. I am superior to everyone. I enrolled in the Demon Lord Academy as valedictorian and graduated at the top. The Demon Lord canon was founded by the earliest demon lords. I studied it deeper than anyone and followed it absolutely. I built my tower according to the canon and kidnapped a princess, then raised heroes to come rescue her. For a demon lord, their rage and suffering are the most lavish feast. Killing them too early would be wrong. The canon teaches raise them strong and enjoy. The stronger the hero, the tastier the meat. I followed the canon more meticulously than anyone. Subjugating this world was only a matter of time. After draining the pain and fury from countless beings, including heroes, I became the strongest demon lord ever. So why is it me who's fallen now? The voice cut through, chilling. How did this happen? The hero's face now looked utterly confident. How could that be? Demon lords, are they all the same? You caused this situation yourselves and now act as if you can't believe it. Diaz strained to reply, I really can't understand it. The hero cut in, saying, speak plainly. You clearly always kidnap the most famous princess to provoke us. You signaled openly, the demon lord has appeared, come stop us if you can. Aren't you ridiculous? If it were me, I'd have killed the king of that country. The kingdom would have fallen into chaos. Because if you took the king, you'd fight over the throne and plunge into civil war, and the anger wouldn't be focused solely on me. And in the end, the demon lord wouldn't be able to grow. That goes against the teachings of the canon. Not only that, before I even reached the Demon Lord Tower, you sent monsters strong enough to train us to our limits. I was so grateful I almost cried. The tower must be even better. The first floor always has weak monsters suited for each person's level, so the heroes won't die halfway through. Diaz ground his teeth in anger. If things stay like this, I must be careful and gather more energy. The book radiated a powerful surge of energy. It was the doctrine of the canon. The hero might even use his foot to kick straight into Diaz's chest. His eyes began to roll white in agonizing pain. The hero laughed loudly and said, so the tower collapses? Then kill the demon lord and that's it. A new demon lord and a new tower will appear. That's a hunting paradise for us heroes, right, brothers? Everyone below erupted into chaos. Of course, thanks Demon Lord, because of you we've grown. You're the best Demon Lord. You're not a lord, you're our benefactor. This time your tower's solid, keep it up. Demon Lord, thank you for creating such a great hunting ground. Diaz stared wide-eyed in shock. Thank you, benefactor. My tower has become your hunting ground. The hero continued, anyway, you are strong. Many heroes died this time. The more that die, the more famous I get. That's fine. With that he raised his sword high. Farewell then. Demon Lord Diaz ground his teeth. That damned hero, how dare you mock me, dare you humiliate me like this? What the hell is this Demon Lord canon anyway? I will not die such a disgraceful death. I am the red-winged eye, I am a Demon Lord. Diaz's body slowly tried to rise, and he screamed as if he'd lost all control. Everything before his eyes began to blur suddenly. Bright red blood sprayed in all directions through the air. At the same time, blood appeared on the floor below. Diaz's pupils rolled up. Diaz's pupils rolled up. Those who dare insult me will pay. The hero stood firm, looking down. Don't touch my horn. He laughed, dying soon and still so dramatic, huh? Suddenly a purple power surged over Diaz. His eyes gleamed red. Even if I must drain my last breath, I must, the hero interjected. Wait, could that purple power actually be growing stronger? Suddenly the hero froze and shouted with a terrified face. Two human figures were abruptly drawn into the purple energy. The others were gradually being scorched by the purple light. Diaz thought to himself that the canon was wrong. If he had known the heroes would use the canon to mock the demon lord. If my pupil had been watchful, I would never have obeyed. If I had another chance, that damned canon. A powerful vortex appeared in the sky, I would hurl it at the orcs. Everything vanished in the blink of an eye. Then a distant voice echoed in his ear, Burrs Diaz. He suddenly jerked awake when he heard the call. Diaz's body froze and his eyes widened, not understanding what was happening. He looked at the scene unfolding before him. What? Sweat began pouring down his face. Am I still alive? Suddenly Ikagi waved and said, Diaz, move up quickly. He stood frozen, watching. Think of my name. Ikagi glanced over and whispered urgently, hurry up, move. Diaz froze and looked back. Could a sudden call have interrupted him? The dean of the academy spoke up. Diaz, why is such an outstanding student of yours spacing out on graduation day? He stared at the dean's horned emblem. It was a demon lord symbol given to every graduating student. Could this really be the Demon Lord Academy? He suddenly paused, eyes wide, and thought. So this is the Demon Lord Academy graduation ceremony from 15 years ago. All the students stood together. All graduates, please step onto the podium. Diaz kept thinking silently. Had I really traveled back in time? This is my chance. A voice continued, now the oath of the future demon lords. The host smiled and continued, please welcome Diaz, this year's valedictorian, who will recite the Demon Lord Canon on behalf of everyone. A large system board appeared before Diaz. His expression grew solemn. I have memorized every word and will obey it with my life. It's what led me to death and turned me into a laughingstock for the heroes. And now you expect me to recite that damned thing again. The students were brimming with confidence. And on top of that, they must swear lifelong loyalty to it in front of everyone. Suddenly Diaz's face darkened. He ground his teeth in anger. The host fumbled, saying, Diaz, please recite the great Demon Lord Canon. A sharp fang began to show inside his mouth. Then Diaz suddenly shouted no. Everyone stared up in shock. He continued shouting, I will not swear that stupid oath. Following the canon is a foolish and blind act. Diaz yelled, the Demon Lord Canon is a pile of garbage. And everyone gaped in unison. Gordon's glasses shattered at the same time as he stared wide-eyed. The dean looked up astonished, mouth agape. The loud stunned shout echoed out across the castle. In an instant, the Academy's greatest valedictorian became the greatest madman. On hearing the declaration, Grand Duke of the Demon World Arkan Blaramf clenched his fist in fury and slammed it down on the table. He gaped and shouted, Burz Diaz, you could be executed on the spot. How dare you insult the Demon Lord Canon? But considering your outstanding record and exceptional talent, I will give you one last chance. Retract that disrespectful remark now and apologize to the entire demon world, or you will be sent to Erin. Erin? Seriously, isn't that the dimensional prison where dozens of demon lords have died? That's a death sentence. Why give a sinner like him another chance? People like him deserve to die. How could he dare criticize the canon? How could an apology be enough? Arkan continued, you know what Erin is, the most dreadful land where countless demon lords perish. Suddenly Diaz interrupted, send me there. I will prove the Demon Lord Canon is just garbage. A crimson magic sigil appeared on the ground. There was no saving him. Diaz, from now on you are officially assigned to Erin, and you will not enjoy any privileges reserved for the Supreme Demon Lord, nor will any demon be allowed to accompany you. You are forbidden from returning to the demon world until you complete your conquest mission. Diaz thought to himself, fine, after that performance it's understandable to be punished like this. I've truly been exiled back here, to the place where the heroes who killed me are waiting. Before I rewound time, I chose Erin myself. I figured someone as strong as me should conquer the toughest challenge. That arrogance cost me my life because so many heroes exploited the Demon Lord Canon, and a huge explosion erupted atop the high mountain. On Diaz's back sprouted a pair of enormous black wings, Northern Continent, Urgest Mountain Range. His expression was grim. This time I will not repeat that mistake. I will use it to my advantage. Diaz's eyes were resolute, the hero's canon. At this moment Gordon was leisurely engrossed in shaving, meticulously buttoning his dress shirt. Gordon, a graduate of the Hell Academy. Yeah, not bad. If the Demon Lord Academy trains demon lords, the Devil Academy trains devils to serve them. The system displayed the rules of the demon world. A devil is the chief servant to the great demon lords. Someone chuckled, Gordon, lucky you, valedictorian graduates will serve the supreme demon lord, Lord Diaz. David added, if I'd tried a bit harder, I could have served him. Gordon, don't laugh, he continued. All of your demon lords are magnificent. Suddenly he smiled slyly, but none compare to Lord Diaz. He's of the demon dragon line, a once-in-a-millennium prodigy who will be recorded in demon world annals. Graduating the same year as him is an immense blessing. Traveling with Lord Diaz, we could conquer every dimension, and we would be carved into the demon world's glorious history, right, Lord Diaz? Suddenly Diaz's voice rang out, wrong. Everyone froze, eyes wide, staring forward. He shouted, because the Demon Lord Canon is garbage. Gordon stood motionless, mouth agape, his glasses shattering. Northern Continent, deep mountain ranges. By rule, the great devils serve the demon lords at the top. Gordon was still in shock, but why? Diaz said they said no devil would accompany you, so why did they still send someone? Gordon's eyes widened and he froze, then slowly turned his head back. Diaz reached out and said, "It's great to see you again." Gordon replied, Why would you do that? Diaz looked puzzled. What are you talking about? Suddenly Gordon shouted, "How dare that cannon insult us like that in front of everyone? This is Erin, now I have to die with you." He replied casually, "Calm down, you're about to pull all your hair out." Gordon snapped angrily, "Hair isn't the issue right now." Diaz thought privately that Gordon wasn't like this before. Before time rewound, he was confident and composed. In the past he'd said, "Fine, it's hard, but with you and me, we can do it." Honestly, if it were Erin, I wouldn't even be interested. Diaz still thought it made sense given the changed situation, but if he mentioned having rewound time, Gordon would think he'd gone mad. Gordon was furious at the 2 pieces of luggage beside him. He gritted his teeth. "Please forgive me for what I said earlier. It's done, I'll complete the mission with you." Diaz nodded. "Yes, system notification, Demon Lord Cannon. Rule 1, the Demon Lord must build a tower but must not hide it or place it in an environment too hostile. Only then can heroes find it." Gordon spoke up, "This place is too dangerous. It's surrounded by treacherous mountains, so humans would have difficulty finding or reaching it. Powerful monsters roam everywhere, so you can't build a tower here. We have to find somewhere else." Suddenly Diaz sat up abruptly. "No, I'll build the tower right here. Plant the tower seed into the ground, and if it's nourished with the Demon Lord's blood, the tower will grow." Gordon shouted, "Cannon, you're blatantly defying the canon." Diaz replied casually, "I never swore to obey it." Gordon angrily, "You'd even abandon the Demon Lord's pride." His expression grew serious. "I understand now, I understand his revulsion. As a demon, it's very hard for him to renounce a faith carved into his bones. Unless he dies or goes through something as horrific as death, otherwise he can't deny it. I was the same once." Suddenly Diaz's hand clenched, and blood began to gush out. He continued, "Listen carefully, Gordon. The Demon Lord Cannon is garbage, especially here in Erin." At that moment, Gordon felt everything around them starting to change. The mountain ranges ahead trembled violently, as powerful energy radiated from the tower seed beneath the ground. It began to launch a blazing red missile shooting upward. A mighty vortex formed before the 2 of them. Diaz smiled, because heroes swarm Erin in terrifying numbers. Those who once betrayed watched Diaz be struck down. The system displayed tower recognizing user race, Dark Gem Dragon name Burz Diaz. The tower gradually pushed up from the ground, recognition complete, summoning tower. Diaz continued, "That's why demon lords keep dying here. After countless destructions of towers, humans learned that Demon Lord towers have specific mechanisms, and they've always used the Demon Lord cannon against us. In this land, the Demon Lord cannon no longer works. It's more accurate to call it the hero cannon." "Gordon, don't be surprised. The hero cannon? What the hell are you talking about?" The enormous tower stood before them. Gordon stared up, and in the end he accepted building the tower here. Diaz hurried inside. "Let's go in." Before them lay a great hall on the first floor of Diaz's tower. Gordon thought to himself, a normal tower should have a complex structure or be full of monsters, but there was nothing here. A tower without privileges is the kind of tower befitting a demon lord with no special favors. They proceeded up to the 5th floor, the demon lord's residence. Every floor was only partially defended. He had already built the tower and couldn't cancel it, but at least he had to follow Rule 2 of the canon. System notification, Demon Lord Canon Rule 2. The demon lord must kidnap a prince or princess, preferably the heir apparent, the most important choice since they carry greater mana. Gordon spoke, "My lord, may I offer counsel?" Diaz answered, "Yes, speak." He continued, "The kingdom near the Urgrust range, especially Corzin, kidnap the princess highest in the line of succession and drain their kingdom's rage and suffering to grow quickly." He spoke slowly, "I know you'll refuse," but Diaz cut him off. "Fine, I'll do that." Gordon was surprised. "What?" Diaz continued, "There's a princess I've had my eye on." Gordon hurriedly added, "I'll help you." His voice turned cold. "You must guard the Demon Lord residence. It must not be left empty." He widened his eyes and thought, thank goodness, indeed the Academy's top Demon Lord. It's probably graduation pressure making him tense, still salvageable. Everything's just beginning. Diaz was preparing to leave, "So whom do you intend to abduct?" Suddenly his face darkened and he said slowly, Ah, someone from the country farthest from the tower, the southernmost kingdom on the continent, the kingdom of Hilderin. Outside, the night sky by the open window was full of stars. Dias hovered in midair, peering inside. Ernan stared at him, target of the protagonist, the overlooked 13th princess, and his voice was cold. I have come to take her away, your highness. Ernan and Dias exchanged a steady gaze. Ernan's eyes glittered as she asked in surprise, who are you? Dias's expression was cold as he said, I am the demon lord come to kidnap you. Ernan responded with only a gentle smile. She spoke, are you sure you can handle me? He thought in astonishment, how weird. Does he really think he can toy with the demon lord? Of course I am the demon lord. Ernan quickly stretched out both hands, then said, then take me. Dias was a bit surprised. How can you be so calm? What are you plotting? Ernan replied, I always assumed this would happen since I was born a princess. He continued, if you think I'll let my guard down, forget it. I'm desperate too, don't try to trick me. She widened her eyes, there's no plot. How could I set a trap when I didn't even know a demon lord like you would come? Dias lowered his face, thinking it made sense, yet he felt uneasy. Ernan stood up to face him, holding out her hand as she said, come on, let's go. Back at the Great Mountain Tower, Gordon watched Dias return and said, you've returned safely, my lord. Dias brushed off his shoulders and stowed her in a corner on the 4th floor. Gordon was astonished, not in the dungeon. He added, she followed willingly, so give her some privileges. He nodded, understood. Suddenly Gordon became serious. Ah, hey demon lord, I have something to report. Has Ernan been moved to the 4th floor of Burge's tower? She sat down on the floor, thinking how cold and hard it was. So I really have been captured. There's nothing here, no pillow, no blanket. No maid, no beautiful garden, so unlike the palace. Suddenly Ernan's cheeks flushed. She smiled softly and it wasn't so bad. Dias asked coldly, an invitation from the monster tower. Gordon nodded, it's indeed a welcome party for the demon lord. Dias sighed, a welcome party sounds like bullying the new guy to show off, doesn't it? Demon lords are proud and never cooperate, but airing an unexpected factor forced them to make temporary truces. I used to despise them as weak, but this time I'll try a little diplomacy. One clear morning at the monster tower. The monster demon lord Draxon. I am Draxon, monster demon lord. I've ruled this place for 70 years. Are you the new demon lord? I've heard you scorn tradition, so why do you look so dull? Dias replied coldly, you really shouldn't have come. Want to start trouble? Get to the point. He laughed and answered, you know nothing. Duke Arkin told me to watch for you when you arrived, he continued nonchalantly. Ah, that loud-mouthed vampire, throw him into Arryn and it's still not enough. Draxon snapped angrily, how dare you insult the Duke, you're reckless. The piece of meat in its mouth finally fell. Draxon lunged in fury, hey, lick it up or I'll forgive your rudeness if you do. Dias remained unmoved. Monster demon lord, you really don't know why I'm here. Draxon replied, of course I know, you fool, because you mocked the demon lord canon. His face darkened. According to that law, demon lords must not kill one another. Without another word, Dias stomped down hard on the meat with his foot, and the ground suddenly shuddered violently beneath them. Dias's face went cold as he said, did you think I would obey that? Draxon's pupils flared red. What is this surge of power? Duke Arcane ordered a check. Did you abduct a princess? If you don't report within a month, you'll lose your authority. Dias turned and left, so that's what he meant, I've already taken a princess. His tone was casual and she fit his taste well. At that moment they had returned to Burge Tower. Gordon, don't speak up. You displayed the demon lord's majesty superbly. Dias continued, small matter, for now he can't do anything but be cautious. Gordon, check on the princess, I should learn how to make use of her. He nodded. Yes, my lord. Outside the window, snow kept falling without pause. Dias looked sullen. What a nuisance. If other demon lords all act like that, things will get messy. The consequences of despising tradition are greater than I thought. But even if I could go back, I'd choose the same. Better to spare my life than bow to those bastards. I won't repeat the mistake. This time I want to rebuild from scratch. Since I only took a low-ranking princess, we'll probably get only a few hundred mana points, right? The number on the system board, 13,000 points. Dias blinked in shock. How is it this many? System notice, you have received a recorded video from Monster Tower Draxon, now playing on the screen. New Demon Lord, here's something to congratulate you. Though our first meeting wasn't smooth, as an elder I should at least give you a little gift. Honestly, what you've done in Arryn is no small feat. I'm genuinely impressed. Was your mocking of tradition just a facade? Suddenly Dias's face darkened. Something felt off. Gordon rushed over. My lord, there's an emergency. On the 4th floor, butterflies were fluttering endlessly amid a breathtaking scene. Bushes of flowers grew thick and lush below. Dias stared at the sight in disbelief. What the hell is this? System notice, Dias Tower, 4th floor. Status is assimilating with nature. Ernan smiled casually and asked, oh, you're here. he thought to himself, did she create an entire ecosystem inside the magic tower? This is a miracle only someone mastering the 4 primal elements could achieve. I clearly came to the 13th princess's castle, and only one spirit mage on this continent could do something like this. You're not the 13th princess, Ernan laughed, so you mistook me for Alina. Suddenly he widened his eyes in shock. Wait, don't tell me you are, she beamed and answered. Exactly, I am Ernan Hildurin. I am the crown princess of the kingdom of Hildurin. At the same time, in the kingdom of Hildurin, the crown princess has been kidnapped by a demon lord who dares abduct our beloved princess. Ernan, assemble the strongest heroes in the entire royal army. I will take that stupid demon lord's head and bring my princess home. Ernan smiled, that's why I asked if you were strong enough to deal with me. Diaz's face remained stunned as he replied, I've heard of an elemental spirit mage genius overflowing with mana. There's no way I wouldn't notice. How did you fool me? Her palm began to glow. I can hide my mana with this ring. It's a family heirloom. So does that answer your question? Do you want me returned? Diaz lowered his head, thinking if he returned the princess he'd be the laughingstock. No kingdom fears a coward, and collecting mana would become harder. His gaze hardened. He must resolutely keep her. The system popped up, detected intent to target Demon Lord Burz Diaz. Mana points possessed, 19,521. Diaz thought, they must be aiming at me. Even if you're not the 13th princess, nothing changes. You are still my hostage. At that moment in Hildurin's castle, the king himself shouted in anger. Kill that stupid demon lord for me and bring my princess back. Seeing this, a high minister urged, Your Majesty, we still don't know which demon lord did this. We've dispatched patrols, please wait a moment. He snapped angrily, then find them quickly. A princess was kidnapped and you stand idle. Another minister spoke up, but sensing something wrong, he angrily asked again, What now? Then he quickly laid out a sharp deduction. A lustful demon lord recently kidnapped a prince from another nation. He had earned the wrath of too many and was slain by heroes. Given that precedent, isn't it very strange that another demon lord would dare kidnap my princess now? Those words made the ministers in the hall exclaim in surprise. Only the king failed to notice the oddity. He ground his teeth in anger. This must be some new one. A soldier knelt and reported loudly, Your Majesty, we've detected traces of teleportation heading north. The destination appears to be the mountains. His pupils narrowed in fury. Mount Urgist. Among the snow-covered ranges, at Burj Tower on Mount Urgist. Gordon spoke up, My lord, the Hildurin army is on its way. Don't you think there'll be more than we can handle? Suddenly Diaz broke into a sinister smile. He continued, No problem, the kingdom of Hildurin can't make it here. Mount Urgist lies at the far northern edge of the continent, while Hildurin is all the way in the south. There's no way every country in between will let their armies pass easily. Those nations won't open the way for them. They'll be forced to hire the Heroes Guild. And as he predicted, after consulting his ministers, King Hildurin accepted the order. We have no choice, contact the Heroes Guild. At this moment in the Great Tower of the Heroes Guild, everyone began to whisper. The Hildurin princess was kidnapped. Which crazy demon lord would dare do that? What destination? I heard that place is full of terrifying monsters. I'm a hero, not a suicide volunteer. King Hildurin is in trouble this time. Diaz smiled confidently, but the Heroes Guild won't budge. They only care about money. No one wants to go to such danger. That's also why I chose this place as a base. Gordon thought in surprise. He planned for that too. Though he doesn't strictly follow the rules, he seems to know Erin very well. Diaz's attitude was utterly confident, as if he'd lived here before. After some time passed with no knight accepting the mission, King Hildurin fumed and cursed. Is there no brave soul willing to take the task? You still call yourselves heroes. Indeed, although Erin has many heroes, they care only about profit and are very picky. So it will take time to form a team, and they also need time to get here. Even so, this amount of mana still isn't enough to handle a full hero force. I know this and he's all too well. Gordon, contact Draxon, I'll sell mana. Gordon bowed and replied, yes. Suddenly he gaped in surprise. What mana? That precious mana, the dream currency that lets us transcend racial limits, unlock tower features, and summon monsters. And you want to trade it for human money? Diaz replied coldly, yes, I'm sure Draxon will pay a high price. I can't face the heroes with only the current mana. But with human currency at Hatet work, the fortress city near Mount Urgist, I have a plan. A foot stepped closer to the two soldiers before them. A guard called, who goes there? Stop. The cloaked man answered, a mercenary. The guard asked on, what kind of mad mercenary comes to the mountain alone? You've got some nerve. Suddenly the cloaked man stepped forward and handed them some gold coins. They excitedly said, split it, don't trust me, Diaz replied coldly. Now, since I can't freely investigate this city, I'll need to find the Mercenary Guild headquarters, the Red Hawk. Captain, shouldn't we leave here soon? Yet the captain criticized him. What are you talking about? It's comfortable here. Guarding to kill monsters while we just divide the spoils. What better place is there than this? Someone on the upper floor called down, haven't you heard? A new demon lord built a tower on the mountain. Hearing that, a man scoffed confidently. Ah, fake news, you don't understand demon lords. They always build towers where heroes can reach them easily. But his subordinate interjected, I heard he even kidnapped the kingdom of Hildebrand's princess. The captain, disbelieving, snapped back angrily, have you ever seen a demon lord cross to the other side of the continent just to kidnap a princess? Laughing loudly, then what about this? I heard the Heroes Guild refused the king's mission after learning the destination. Before the man finished, another stood up and cut in, it's all a show, what's so special about a princess? She's an heir with value. The heroes are just whining to squeeze more money out of it. You know how crazy they get when money's involved. He bragged on and on, unaware that Diaz was now standing right behind him. He spoke softly like a ghost. Is that so? So that's how it is. At his voice, the captain lost his nerve, fell back onto the floor, and screamed, you scared me to death. Who are you? He smiled and replied, you lot seem knowledgeable. One of you come back here, the rest get lost. They all charged forward with weapons, shouting that the intruder wouldn't leave here alive. But in the blink of an eye, they were struck repeatedly. Diaz easily took down each attacker in his way. A large man leapt down from above. His massive hammer came crashing down onto the floor. Diaz's pupils flashed as he smiled faintly and braced with his hand. The big man's face began to show fear. The others on the upper floor aimed their bows downwards. From below, Diaz quickly struck the giant, sending him flying. The towering man had no time to react and could only groan at the monster's name. Thus, the guild hall rang continuously with sounds of fighting and crashing. But passers-by were not surprised by the commotion. On the contrary, they shrugged, saying, they're fighting again, don't they ever get tired? Moments later, the guild interior looked like a whirlwind had swept through, strewn with bodies and debris. Diaz gently soothed the captain, don't be afraid, answer my question and I'll spare you. Hearing that, the man immediately prostrated himself and begged, yes, my lord, just spare me. So Diaz directly asked where the slave market was. In the blink of an eye, the two appeared on a deserted street, until they stood before a cage and Diaz said in disappointment, there are only human slaves here. The man anxiously stammered, not to your liking. Instantly, he tossed the man a pouch of gold and signaled, is there nothing rarer? At the sight of the money, the captain's face changed and he eagerly replied, of course there is. Still, Diaz was not pleased and thought to himself, how can he still be smiling after his men were beaten like that? Humans crave money and other demonic races crave mana, basically no different. But he followed the man nonetheless, until they descended into a basement, where the man pointed at a nearby cage and motioned, this way. At that moment, Diaz recalled Gordon Dyrick's stern face asking, my lord, what do you intend to do with that human money? And he confidently answered him then that he could buy slaves, otherworldly races captured by humans. An ELF tribe known for purity would be ideal. I will use that elf as a spy to sow chaos among the heroes. While Diaz executes his plan, the hero Hillen Karjal has arrived. Upon seeing him, the king entrusted the mission with great confidence. I believe you will accept this task and not let him down. Hillen Karjal also declared confidently, of course, I will rescue the princess and bring your majesty the demon lord's head. In the name of justice. Seeing Granada imprisoned in chains, Diaz calculated silently that using an elf as a spy to throw the heroes into disarray would be highly effective, because that race is known for being pure and innocent. A mercenary laughed and asked, what kind of slave are you looking for? He pointed at the captain and said casually, I'm here to buy that elf slave, he'll pay you. The man jumped and shouted, what? A terrifying dark aura rose from Diaz as he coldly asked, do you object? The captain, frightened, hurriedly opened his purse. No, of course not. I'll take the payment, that's only natural. He stepped up to the cage and said, I need to confirm a few things. You two go outside. The mercenary looked worried. But what if that elf goes mad? Diaz remained calm. It's fine, if anything happens, he's responsible. Once the two left, Diaz removed Granada's chains. Such a noble elf reduced to a pitiful slave. He panted and asked, this energy, are you one of the Demonkin? What would Demonkin want with an elf? An opportunity to avenge humanity, Diaz revealed. I want to give you a chance. But Granada was not easily persuaded. The offer was tempting, but he couldn't trust Demonkin over humans. Diaz persisted in his persuasion. I'm different. If you pledge loyalty to me for 50 years, I'll guarantee your safety and freedom. 50 years is hardly long for an elf. That would still be far better than enduring human humiliation. Granada asks sternly, you are Demonkin. Your race is trying to destroy the world tree that my people, the elves, serve, and this world that the tree sustains. How do you expect me to trust you? For one thing, a demon asking favors of an elf was strange. Diaz's pride felt trampled, his words hit a sore spot. All right, so how then? I invoke the demon lord's rule of the great demon king. I will keep my promise and will not touch the world tree. The demon lord's rule means to Demonkin what the world tree is to elves. In return, I want you to swear to the world tree that for the next 50 years you will be loyal to me. Hearing that, Granada couldn't help but smirk. You're a strange one, but if you've gone that far, then I, Granada of the Windleaf clan, will swear once I meet the demon lord who sent you here. At this, Diaz dared to reveal his true identity. I am the demon lord. At first Granada froze, then a second later he burst out laughing. What? Don't make me laugh. There's no way a demon lord would wander here. The farther a demon lord is from his tower, the weaker he is. Why would he personally come here just to buy a slave? If you really are the demon lord, then I'll swear loyalty to you for 100 years instead. Diaz then brought Granada to his tower's 5th floor. Diaz smirked. The 100-year contract was your idea, not mine. Granada was still shocked and incredulous. Are you really the demon lord? Hey, this is a scam, isn't it? You never said this tower would be empty like this. Up to the 3rd floor there's truly nothing, and the 4th floor is all natural foliage. What kind of tower is this that doesn't even have a single demon creature? At this rate you won't last a year. The heroes will tear you apart. I would never work in a place like this. Diaz's killing intent flared as he warned softly, have you forgotten? You and I have already signed a contract. That forced Granada to accept the truth. The pressure from the mana was overwhelming. He really was the demon lord. His tower might seem empty, but no demonic creature in the Est Mountain range dared attack them. All were disaster-grade monsters. They wouldn't risk provoking us, or rather, they wouldn't risk provoking the demon lord. Yes, after all, a demon lord is still a demon lord. Perhaps I will truly be protected. Then Granada knelt, bowed his head, and declared, I swear by the great renown of the world tree that from this moment my loyalty belongs to you for the next 100 years. He thought to himself that since the demon lord personally came for me, surely he'd assign me an important task. I'd get revenge on my enemy as part of that wicked plan. I expected some grand, explosive mission. But to his surprise, Diaz casually said, all right, first prepare a meal for me. Granada froze when he heard that, and resigned himself to start cooking, thinking, I was supposed to be part of some hugely important plan. At that moment, Ernan was bustling nearby and offered to help Granada. You're cooking, let me help. Can I make a few vegetable buns? After a while in Diaz's tower, on the dining floor, everyone had taken their seats at the table. Granada glanced hesitantly and asked the demon lord, that girl, is she from the kingdom of Hilderin? Diaz answered yes. She's from Hilderin? Hearing that, he leapt up and shouted, are you out of your mind? You kidnapped the crown princess? This tower is empty. How do you expect to stop the heroes when they come? But Diaz replied calmly, that's exactly why I bought you. Now sit down and eat, your cooking's pretty good. Ernan chimed in, I helped too. Granada was still stunned. What on earth was happening? A while later, on the 4th floor of Diaz's tower, Granada asked, do you want me to fight the heroes here? Diaz revealed, no, if the heroes reach this far, the game's over. That means they've pierced the mountain range. You'll cause chaos in the human world on my behalf. Granada asked suspiciously, you want me to be a spy? Diaz replied, yes, but first I need to test your strength. Come on then. Granada felt insecure. How could he possibly defeat a demon lord inside his own tower? Diaz proposed, how about this? I'll fight with one hand and won't use magic. Also, if you win, I'll reduce our contract by 50 years. Hearing that, Granada felt reinvigorated and shouted as he threw a punch, all right, keep your word. I'll blow your head off. No, I'll give it my all against you. So he lunged at Diaz and began his attack. Diaz calmly parried the blows and asked, though you've likely been a slave for a long time, your technique is decent. Did you absorb mana on the 4th floor or strengthen your physique? It's a style that suits an elf. Granada pressed his 2 fingers together and shouted, a normal elf couldn't do this. Blame yourself for choosing the wrong opponent. At that moment, roots snaked around Diaz's feet. Seeing him lose focus, Granada surged forward and even mistook his target. You've left an opening. I'll take back my 50 years. But Diaz was no pushover. He grinned madly and raised his mana-charged hand. Yeah, you should do that. But I hope you haven't forgotten who you're facing. Don't worry, I won't use magic. I'll control my strength carefully so I don't accidentally kill you. Granada stammered in astonishment at the terrifying power. Wait, then there was a loud crash. And at the same time at Horton Walk, headquarters of the Scarlet Hawk Mercenary Guild, the mercenary captain raised his hand, brimming with excitement. It's an honor to meet you again, my lord. Diaz got straight to the point. I want to hire you for a year. The captain's eyes lit up. Of course, what's your budget? The men behind him, already expecting the answer, thought that no matter how much money he had, he was flattering the one who'd beaten them to a pulp. Maybe they should change careers. Diaz set down a large pouch of gold. This is your deposit. The men instantly flipped loyal more than an ex-lover. Captain, we'll follow you to the end. Loyalty is what makes us mercenaries, so what if he beats us? The captain sighed at his brothers. All right, thanks, maybe I'll find a new crew. Diaz wasn't finished. Also, bring this one into your squad. From now on, he'll relay my orders. The captain hurriedly replied, yes, my lord, of course. The men hesitated. Captain, wait, bringing a stranger into the crew is a bit. At that moment, Granada, still swollen-faced from his duel with Diaz, appeared and spoke up. Hello, I'm Granada. Suddenly, the mercenaries watched the scene and were moved to tears. They even formed a circle to confer. Though they seemed like idiots, Diaz thought otherwise. They looked ordinary, but they're regional mercenaries. You can't find veterans like them elsewhere. Not to mention they're easy to handle. The only hero likely to answer Hildurin's summons at this time of year is Hillen, the one who defeated the Lust Demon Lord. So Diaz shouted orders to the Scarlet Hawk mercenary unit. This is your first mission. Investigate Hillen, the hero employed by the Kingdom of Hildurin. Everyone replied in unison, yes, my lord. At that moment in Diaz's tower, he informed them, I've assigned matters concerning the hero to Granada. Now it's my turn to grow stronger. Mana points can be used to reinforce the tower or to empower the demon lord himself. The only way for Diaz, for someone who sold all his points to become stronger, is the Spirit Bloom. It's a mana crystal born from absorbing nature's mana, and once consumed it grants the user a massive power boost. In these mountains where brutal mana storms rage and mighty monsters roam, nature has hardly been touched by humans. Thus, spirit blooms have spent years absorbing natural mana, making their energy far more refined. Indeed, this place is a treasure trove of spirit blooms. Diaz thought for Demonkin they're not as effective as pure mana, but something is better than nothing. Then he said, I'll go find some spirit blooms. But Diaz's assistant, Gordon Direk, warned, it's dangerous for the demon lord to go unprepared. It's like looking for a needle in a desert. Monsters are beasts. They'll attack at the first sign of weakness. Diaz considered this. I can handle the monsters easily, but as you said, finding spirit blooms will be difficult. Gordon added, yes, unless we have a mana detector. Excellent. Suddenly someone entered. Hello, are you too busy? At the sight of her, both men stared wide-eyed. A moment later, Ernan had gone out walking with Diaz. She cried out with joy, oh, I'm so happy. I've been fine lately, just a little bored. You must keep your promise. Let me decorate the 4th floor as I please. Diaz agreed at once. As long as you can find the spirit bloom. She'd already decorated to her taste. How far would she take it? No, just the idea of her decorating the Demon Lord's tower was already crazy. Ernan was secretly thrilled. She hadn't expected to leave the tower. Luckily, she dropped by to say hello, when suddenly Diaz grabbed her shoulder. He scooped Ernan up and opened his wings to cling on. She panicked and cried, wait, I'm not ready yet. Before she could finish speaking, he shot into the sky like a rocket. At that moment, Ernan, terrified, opened her eyes and witnessed a shocking sight. It was dark the night she was kidnapped, so I didn't notice. But how vast this world is, the days all repeat the same way. Practicing magic, studying rulership, training, learning, and repeating. I thought I would live like that until I died. Then she excitedly turned to tell Diaz. Demon Lord, did you know, the only human who's ever flown across these mountains might be me now? He replied indifferently, I don't care, princess, do your duty, and she cut him off. Call me, we will be seeing each other for a long time. It'll be easier to address each other that way, right? Diaz grabbed one of her hands, lifting her up and scolding sternly. Maybe I let you do whatever you wanted a bit too much. Perhaps you've forgotten your place, haven't you? Do you want to be sent down into the dark underground? Ernan bowed her head and mumbled, I'm sorry. Diaz ordered, use your spirit to find a spirit bloom now. She sent her water spirit off, reminding it, return safely. Diaz thought to himself, they probably won't find it quickly, but I'll make sure to be faster than Gordon or find it myself. Soon he heard Ernan cry out, found it. Below was a radiant spirit flower, but it was surrounded by gigantic monsters. Ernan said, it seems you have some guests here before us. Diaz waved his hand and ordered, these creatures are descendants of the demon race who left the demon realm. If any of you still have a shred of demon honor, obey the demon lord's command. Do not approach the spirit bloom and leave this place immediately. But the monsters remained stubborn. No, they snarled, we won't listen, we don't like you, you must die. Dia smiled faintly and formed a bridge of mana with both hands. Gordon said, yes, I hope these beasts know better. I'm such an idiot, I'll burn you all to dust. The monsters immediately charged to fight, ready to kill him. To protect what belongs to them, kill and eat. Dias created a mana vortex that blasted the monsters away who couldn't match him. They charged again, targeting the weak first, but Dias unleashed an explosion to drown the monsters. Ernan watched Dias's magnificent display and realized that coordinated, the famed Pule Orc could even defeat an ogre. But they couldn't get close to us. This is the demon lord's power. Night had fallen, and the monsters were buried under a layer of snow. Ernan gazed at the hyacinth ice spirit flower and exclaimed, the mana is so pure. Dias said sternly, don't touch it. Ernan pouted but obeyed. He held up the spirit flower and said, if you find another, you can take one. She lit up. Really? I'll do my best. Dias thought, people only celebrate when there's a reward, huh? Sadly, they never found a second spirit bloom, although Ernan searched until she was exhausted. After a while, the two returned to Dias's tower. He pondered the princess of Hilderan. Hilderan at first seemed like a costly mistake, but perhaps she is more useful than I initially thought. At that moment, Gordon reported, Demon Lord, I just received news from Granada. Dias was a bit surprised. Really, that's fast. Gordon continued, reporting that the hero Hilan Karjal, along with 32 other champions, had departed from the capital of Hilderan. They aren't heading straight for Urgist, they'll take the classic hero route, forming a party and leveling up by completing villagers' quests. They'll grow stronger over the course of their journey. I've prepared several plans for the hero's route. Please review them. Dias waved it off. All cancelled. This time we won't send any monsters or interfere with their journey. Gordon shouted in shock. What? Dias went on, half measures only make them stronger. Tell Granada to join the hero's expedition, embed with their mercenary company, help them, and build trust. Gordon, exasperated, said, you really are our demon lord. This time you won't follow the usual rules. We can't stop the heroes with the current tower, can we? Dias reassured him. Don't worry, Gordon. I'll make sure our tower holds up. By using a dwarf, Gordon couldn't hold back and shouted in protest. What? Now you want a few dwarves here alongside humans and high elves? If anyone sees those small races in our tower, we'll be a laughingstock. But Dias's threatening manner quickly calmed Gordon. And then he explained further, I don't mean we'll simply stop the heroes with dwarves. More precisely, we need dwarven war machines. Think it through, heroes are used to the demon lord's standard. They'll approach the first floor expecting a few weak monsters. But what if dozens of cannons greet them? Gordon pondered for a moment. Dozens of cannons on the first floor, the heroes would never anticipate that. Then he shook his head and objected. Wait, still, that's way beyond the usual standards. When Gordon looked up, Dias was nowhere to be seen. He realized the man had already left on some ridiculous errand. Oh great, off to kidnap again. Cut to Wolfner, the dwarven underground city. The finest smith of the dwarf clan, Loger Friedrich. He was still diligently working late into the night. Now he was destined to be kidnapped by the demon lord. Dias had arrived in Wolfner, the dwarf city. He thought to himself that before reincarnating he'd fought countless dwarves, but this was the first time he'd visited their city. Dias set a few gold coins on the wooden table and said, I'm here to commission a weapon, but I don't know where to go. Where is this city's greatest smith? The old man juggled the coins with a pleased look. With a human, you know how to speak. Dias said bluntly, I've heard dwarves love money like heroes do, and the old man did not deny it. You're right, go deeper into the city and you'll find a large shaft. Step onto the lift, they'll check your ID and take you to the floor you want. It's a two-step security method to identify intruders. Go to the lowest level and the innermost chamber. There you'll find the city's greatest smith. When Loger Friedrich caught sight of him, Dias began to plot. His metallurgical craft made the mana seem to dance. He was the finest smith. Yes. Now if I can quietly abduct him, before I even touch him. Suddenly, a great ring of flame erupted from Loger's forge. Dias was surprised and silently guessed. Did he just sense a trace of mana? Maybe this dwarf Loger suddenly charged at him swinging a maul. But he easily blocked the blow. At that moment, he also recognized the person before him. You're a hero. Loger roared, that's right, I'm a hero. I'm Loser Friedrich, the smith who holds the hero's strength. How dare you enter dwarf lands? You demon, you won't get out of here alive. But Dias gripped Loger's throat and pinned him to the ground, taunting. Talk all you want, but you're too weak, and I'm not a demon, I'm the demon lord. Right after the dwarf soldiers rushed in, Lojer, punish the intruder. What was that sound? They saw the room wrecked and empty in panic. Lojer is gone, an intruder abducted him. Block all exits, search the entire place thoroughly. They can't have gone far. It turned out Diaz was restraining Lojer on the building's rooftop. If you make a sound, I'll kill you, Lojer asked in panic. Why is a demon lord here? Don't tell me you came for our princess. But Diaz retorted, Princess, I'm not interested in that. He didn't believe it. He shouted, accused him of lying, and ordered, I heard the dwarf smiths dug a secret emergency passage. Take me there now. He was so upset he was nearly in tears. This demon lord definitely came for the princess. Damn it. The reason I've lived a quiet life until now is exactly because I'm too afraid to fight demon lords. Why is this happening to me? Lojer's character info popped up, dwarf hero. Lojer weak note. Seeing him silent, Diaz threatened, how about this? I'll abduct the princess and release you. You won't easily confess. Lojer growled, what are you plotting? Diaz played psychological games. The selfish hero betrays the princess to beg for his life. If that rumor spreads, how will you face the other dwarves? Lojer stubbornly screamed back in defiance. I can't, damn it, you wicked, vile creature, everyone will know I'm weak. If such a rumor spreads, they'll certainly believe it. I'll be tortured for life, Diaz continued negotiating. Lojer, will you betray the princess or come willingly with me? Choose. Lojer had no good options. Of course I'd betray the princess, but I don't want to be tortured. Diaz leaned close and whispered, if you help me, I'll guarantee your safety. I swear on the demon lord's code. Lojer strained his mind to decide. The demon lord's code is the creed every demon lord reveres. He certainly wouldn't break an oath sworn to it. In that case, then his expression changed. He turned to Diaz brightly and said, lead me to the secret passage. Demon lord, what's with that sneer? It's disgusting. Because Lojer's workshop was in a state. With Lojer absent, the soldiers had all gathered here. The chubby, short pink-haired girl was the princess of the dwarf kingdom, Liui's Werft. She bowed sadly and asked, Lojer, where did he go while making my weapon? One man stepped forward to report, Your Highness, we believe he was kidnapped. The little princess seemed ill-tempered. And she snapped, shut up, he's also a hero. Does it make sense that a hero would be kidnapped? The soldier hesitated to explain. He may be a hero, but he's also a smith. That's why he's not skilled in fighting. Liuis paid no mind and hurriedly ordered, shut up and find that damn kidnapper right now and bring him to me. If you can't find him, I'll tear all your heads off. The soldiers, terrified, hurriedly obeyed. Yes, your highness. At that time, Diaz and Lojer were walking through his secret passage. Lojer's fruit cart kept bumping into him, which annoyed him greatly. Unable to stand it, Diaz conjured a demonic flame and said, How long do I have to stare at your disgusting butt? Lojer panicked and said, Don't blame me, the passage is too narrow, we're almost there, so hang on. Diaz urged through his teeth, hurry up. After a while, the two finally emerged outside. Lojer panted and said, My role ends here. I've shown you the secret passage. Do what you want. I'm leaving, demon lord. But Diaz looked at him craftily. What nonsense are you talking about? Lojer, seeing him turn on him, hurriedly reminded him, You swore by the demon lord's code. You said you'd guarantee my safety if I helped you. Diaz cracked a wide smile and said, You mean that garbage? I don't give a damn about that. Lojer was horrified and couldn't believe his eyes. What the hell? What kind of demon lord is he? Diaz stepped closer and said in a low voice, So what should I do with you now? At that moment, Lojer truly regretted it. He wished he'd betrayed the princess from the start. Lojer hurriedly fell to his knees and begged, I'm actually quite useful. No one is better than me at metallurgy. I can forge any weapon you want. Diaz sounded somewhat hesitant. You're a hero, yet you want to be a subordinate of a demon lord? He risked everything. What's so suspicious about that? Use me as you wish. I'll even be a spy if you want. Survival is my top priority, he finally agreed with Lojer. If you're willing to swear loyalty to me, I'll spare your life. Lojer was so overjoyed he prostrated himself wildly. Thank you so much. Hail the great demon lord. On the surface he seemed sincere, but Diaz had his own scheme. You stupid demon, do you think I'll truly be loyal to you? A spy, my ass. The moment I leave here, you'll be done for. You'll regret it for the rest of your life for sparing me. Prepare yourself, demon lord. One moment he was like that, and the next he stood frozen. He was staring at the scene in Diaz's tower on the 4th floor. Gordon couldn't believe it. Clutching his head, he cried out, Demon lord, you actually brought a dwarf here, and a dwarf hero at that. He didn't care and snapped back to silence. Suddenly Granada called in, I have something to report. Wait, did you bring a dwarf? He was immediately brushed aside upon mention. Report later. Meanwhile, Ernan stepped forward curiously and asked, Did you come to rescue me? A hero? Surely not. Lojer kept at it, turning around in surprise to accuse, Why am I here? You said you'd let me go. Diaz replied coldly. I never said that. He protested angrily. You clearly said I'd be spared, so why am I here? Diaz, slightly losing his temper, growled. And you're still alive, don't you want to live? I knocked you out and brought you here. It was a necessary action because I didn't know what you'd do. As he was speaking, Loder's expression suddenly changed, and he laughed like a madman, leaving the others stunned. Diaz sneered and asked, are you that happy to become my subordinate? He couldn't hold back tears as he confirmed, of course, I'm so happy I could die. Diaz was even more pleased. Good thinking, here's your mission. Loder knelt trembling. What is it? He declared with authority that they would install a large number of cannons on the first floor to destroy any heroes who dared come. At the station preparing for the hero August's journey, Granada reported the situation. There's currently a rumor circulating about the hero's expedition. It seems the new demon lord can wield fire, so the heroes are equipping fire-resistant gear. A widespread rumor says the reason the new demon lord hasn't sent his beasts is because he's afraid. Diaz offered his opinion. I think they still intend to kill at first, but they won't gain anything from the hero's expedition, neither glory in battle nor loot. Eventually they'll lose interest and the heroes won't be able to develop. It's a war of attrition, it's fine, keep monitoring them. Granada closed the comm screen and replied, understood. He was still dazed, thinking about Diaz. He's weakening the heroes by not sending the beasts. This demon lord understands human nature well. Has there ever been a demon lord like him? Lucky he's not an enemy. At that time, Diaz was giving Loder careful instructions. However, there's one restriction. You must not use mana stones. I don't care how you rework the first floor as long as you obey that limit. Loder hurriedly explained, a trap without mana stones won't work on heroes. But Diaz didn't care, it's your problem. Heroes receive blessings from this realm. Their energy sensing ability is outstanding. If you use mana stones to make a trap, they'll detect it before it's triggered. And Diaz formed a magical orb to threaten. I'm pretty sure I brought back the best smith, right? If I'm wrong, we can replace him. Loder cried in fear. Come to think of it, there is a way. You should have said that from the start. Necessity breeds ingenuity. He hurriedly presented his idea. I once made an old magic device that can hide the traces of mana. It took 3 years to create, and I still have one in the workshop. But Diaz saw through the scheme. Is that the only excuse you're using to escape? Yet Loder insisted, I'm telling the truth. Diaz relented, all right, I trust you. He noticed a collar appear on his neck and wondered, but what did you put around my neck? He smiled slyly and answered, it's a magic device that can separate your head from your body. It's a device so no one can see your face. If you remove it, I'll consider it an escape attempt. Loder, terrified, vowed, I'll never take it off. Diaz, satisfied, said, then let's go. And so Diaz traveled to many kingdoms to gather materials and mana supplies. It took about a month to collect the necessary ingredients and store them in his space pouch. After that, they returned to Wolfner. At that moment, Leois kicked the wooden door open and shouted, it's been a month and a half and you still haven't found him. How useless are you? How much longer must I be patient? The soldiers had to explain. The smiths have dug too many tunnels. We're searching each one, but most likely they've already left. Leois kept shouting angrily, of course, only an idiot would stay here. He's been kidnapped. I'll give you exactly 2 more weeks. If you don't find the kidnapper, you'll die, understand? The old soldier panicked and replied, yes, I promise I'll find them. Leois looked like a lion. Now go search every tunnel the smiths dug. The soldiers shouted, yes, your highness, right away, when everyone left. She stayed alone, looking regretfully at the sword Roger had made before he was kidnapped. This was supposed to be my weapon. Loder, please stay alive. You mustn't die until you finish my weapon. Suddenly, Loder crawled out from the secret tunnel behind Leois. She suddenly turned to look, and immediately the mask activated its facial recognition jamming function. So she stood there bewildered, guessing it was one of his secret passages, known only to him, which meant he was Loder. At this moment, the facial jamming mask was still active while Loder forced a smile, his face pale. The princess suddenly cracked her knuckles with a sly grin. What is this, you bastard? You returned safe and sound. So you ran away because you didn't want to become my weapon? Isn't that right, Loder? He hurriedly denied it. It's a misunderstanding, milady. Leois ignored Loder and stepped forward threateningly. A misunderstanding? No, I don't misunderstand anything. How dare you insult my princess? From now on, you are my slave. You will make weapons for me for the rest of your life, but first I will punish you for fleeing. Loder squeezed his eyes shut in terror. Please spare me. Suddenly, a loud explosion sent Leois flying backward. She staggered to her feet and shouted, who are you? It turned out to be Diaz, appearing like a god. He ordered, Loder, grab your things. He scrambled off in a panic. Do it now. An announcement blared, the facial jamming mask is active. Liyue's flew into a rage and shouted, "What kind of monster are you? Why are you helping that lowly dwarf?" Diaz replied calmly, "I am the master of that pathetic dwarf you just threatened." Liyue charged at him like a furious missile. "Nonsense, he's my slave, he'll be my weapon forever. Who are you to try to steal him?" Before Liyue's flurry of attacks, Diaz moved with swift footwork and struck a kick at her neck, but she easily held his leg and spat disdainfully. While Diaz was still stunned, he was hurled hard against the wall by Liyue's. Now Liyue's began to change tactics. "Now it's your turn." But Diaz quickly lunged forward and grabbed her head. So the two grappled fiercely, unevenly matched. Liyue's Werf, the second princess of the Dwarf Kingdom. Although she wasn't a hero, she was unusually strong before my regression. She was one of the strongest people, far stronger than she is now. I could have killed her before she matured, but I'd have to use all my strength and magic. I'm not as strong as before my regression. And I could be captured by her soldiers. If I used full power, she'd realize I'm a demon lord. While the ox charged into the brawl, the mosquito-like Loger struggled with the pile of gear. Diaz rushed over and asked him, "Have you taken everything?" He stammered in reply, "I'm dismantling it now." The mana illusion device hides mana traces and is extremely large. It was created by Loger Friedrich. Diaz, radiating killing intent, asked sharply, "Do you want to die? Finish quickly." Loger, terrified, said, "I'll do it as fast as I can." Now Liyue's charged like a beast, wielding thunderous power. "Who let you do that?" Diaz began to worry. "If things go badly, I'll leave you behind." Loger replied in panic, "Yes, I'm dismantling it right now." He wondered to himself how long he could hold out without using his true strength and magic. Then two terrible currents of power collided. Liyue shouted in fury, "I don't know where you crawled out from, but you won't leave here alive. Loger, I'll break your legs so you can never run again." Diaz shot back without backing down. "You speak like a demon lord, give it up, second princess of the dwarves. I'll take your dwarf and this device." At that moment, Loger's machine began to move. He shouted, "It's dismantled, finished." Liyue turned her attention to Loger and barked, "Loger, you bastard, you came back to take that. Do you think I'm weak?" Diaz seized the opening at once. Then he kicked Liyue hard in the gut, sending her flying far back. Diaz then flew over to Loger. "Loger, run!" Liyue kept screaming like a madwoman. "That attack won't work on me." But in front of her, there was no sign of the two of them. At that moment, the useless soldiers finally ran over. "Princess, what's going on?" Liyue, furious, continued to curse. "You turtles, did you wait for me to die before showing up?" Loger had fled through the tunnel. They pursued him. Suddenly, the tunnel entrance exploded. Liyue froze, unable to believe her eyes. "What? He sealed the tunnel. He really didn't want to become my weapon that badly." Then she laughed wildly. "Interesting, very interesting, Loger. Fine, I'll come find you myself. Even if I have to turn this whole continent inside out, I'll make you regret what you did today, Loger." Meanwhile, on the first floor of Diaz's tower, there stood a gigantic, intricately complex machine. Gordon asked sternly, "Demon Lord, what the hell is that?" "I was in the middle of cleaning," Ernan blurted. "It's huge," Diaz revealed. "It's the magical device needed to stop the heroes." Loger turned and reported that the installation of the mana illusion was complete. Diaz, pleased, ordered, "Good, activate it." He replied, "Yes, Demon Lord." Diaz, emanating killing intent, reminded them softly, "After the trouble we went through to bring it back, it better be worth it." Loger, trembling with fear, answered, "Of course." He activated it, and immediately the device produced an endless vortex. Light flared from it, spreading outward and forcing everyone to shield their eyes. So bright that a notification appeared. "The tower accepts the mana illusion. Synchronizing with the tower will cost 10,000 points. Do you want to synchronize?" Diaz pondered for a moment. "Synchronize with the tower." "The tower can do that. I'll verify personally." "Yes," he decided. Another notification sounded. 11,182 points consumed, remaining 1,182 points. The mana illusion recognized Demon Lord Diaz as its master. The mana illusion's energy source had completely shifted from mana to dark magic. Diaz turned to call Loger. He jumped, panicked, and explained, "I didn't do anything, honestly. I never thought it could merge with the tower and that the energy would shift from mana to dark magic. This is a discovery of the century." "Demon Lord, are you surprised? Even the creator didn't know." Then he gave instructions to Ernan. "Princess, cast any spell you want." Ernan raised his hand and began to cast magic. "Fine, any spell I want." Gordon, alarmed, hurried to stop him. "I just finished cleaning the tower, don't please stop." Diaz pondered for a moment and realized something was off. Normally, using a spell of that level inside the tower would be detectable even from outside. But I don't see anything. In fact, I can't sense any presence at all. Is this the tower's power? Merged with the mana illusion. If I control the tower in this state, the tower disappears. Diaz's magical hand kept moving. Then the tower appeared before him. Diaz was a bit surprised, so I can hide the tower at will, but it costs so much mana. The system showed mana points dropping from 1,182 to 137. Yeti smiled in satisfaction. It's hard to use now, but it will definitely be useful in the future. Meanwhile, Loger hugged the magical machine with delight. Just a little, Demon Lord, just a tiny bit. I can disassemble both the device and the tower. I mean, may I study them? I've never heard of anything like this in history, past or present. Please allow me to research this historical find. Diaz watched him and judged inwardly. He looked like a battle-thirsty demon. Then he accepted Loger's request. Fine, if your trap wipes out the heroes on floor 1, I'll let you do as you wish. Loger burst with decisive morale and assurance. I will certainly sweep away those crafty heroes. Diaz turned to Ernan and said quietly, Princess, I have a task for you. Confront the heroes who reach floor 4. Ernan innocently pointed at him. What? You want me to fight heroes, but I'm a proper princess. You're going to have to threaten me a little. You're also a prodigy spirit mage and you don't want to return to the palace, do you? Diaz recognized his own action might be a bit much, assigning her a role like this. She's an innocent princess who doesn't understand the world, so betraying her own kind might be. But Ernan was already musing over how to fight. What should I use against them? Fire, water, no, moonstone. Diaz shrugged to himself and let it go. Whatever. Then Diaz instructed carefully, you just need to unsettle the heroes, let them believe you are an enemy. If things go smoothly, you'll be granted what you want. Ernan's eyes glittered as she whispered, all right, I'll find a weakness, but I have one condition. Present me as the Demon Lord's subordinate, not a princess, okay? Diaz was slightly surprised but agreed. Fine, I accept, that's easy. Ernan gleefully planned, how should I fight? Should I use my looks to charm them? I'm most confident in that. Diaz inwardly winced and said, no, just do as I tell you. After a while, he returned to his private room. He examined the system, bored in thought. With this, preparations were partly complete. We'll reduce the number of heroes with heavy mana cannons on floor 1, while on floor 4 we'll finish them off using the princess as bait, but that's still not enough. In the current situation, I can't even wipe out half the heroes. They number over 200. So in the end, I still have to become stronger personally. He once again took out the hyacinth spirit flower of the ice-water element, tainted by dark magic. He analyzed inwardly that spirit flowers contaminated by dark magic are especially effective against the demon race. He must collect more. After a while, Diaz called out, Princess, we're going out. Ernan happily cheered, but after a moment she sighed and said, there's nothing here either. Diaz also looked disappointed. This is the third test. Maybe last time we just got lucky. Useless spirits. Ernan could only sigh in boredom. How strange. Suddenly, a monster appeared nearby them. Diaz quickly raised his hand to unleash magic. An orc pul again. I'm so sick of you lot. Suddenly, the monster knelt and said respectfully, I am Krudu, chieftain of the Blue Ice Tribe. Greetings to you. Demon Lord, please accept our tribe as your vassals. I am Krudu, chieftain of the Blue Ice Tribe. Greetings to you. Demon Lord, please accept our tribe as your vassals. Please take us as your subordinates. Diaz was a little taken aback. You want me to take you as a vassal? Krudu recited respectfully, our ancestors were demons who betrayed the demon realm and suffered for it in the past. Allow us to serve you. Demon Lord, that is enough. Diaz coldly exposed them. Spare me the sweet talk. In the end, you just want to grow stronger by becoming the Demon Lord's vassal. After all, you suit dark magic more than spirit flowers. Krudu glanced at his followers. Unexpectedly, you saw through everything. No need to hesitate. Bring it out. Inside the box were 3 spirit flowers of different colors. Diaz looked at the 3 specimens and realized this was why we couldn't find them. Smooth words, well prepared. And you know how to negotiate. Compared to those orc peul, you are unusually clever. Krudu replied, to survive in this harsh land, our tribe values wisdom over strength. Diaz asked bluntly, and you came to me to become stronger, because you lack power. Krudu was silent but nodded lightly. Diaz smiled slightly and began to form a small magic array, emphasizing wisdom over brute force. Ha, I like you very good, but I will only accept you. Krudu, wander across the snowy plains and grow your tribe. For as long as you await my command, I will grant you something greater than mere strength. Your tribe will endure forever. Following his words, a new notification appeared. Krudu race peul orc, vassal status to the Demon Lord achieved. Krudu shouted joyfully, thank you my lord. I swear my loyalty to you, Demon Lord, loyal to you alone. At Mount Ergist Burge Tower. Outside the tower, the newly recruited followers of Diaz from the Peul Orc region had gathered. On the first floor of the tower, Loger and 50 mana cannons stood. On the fourth floor, Ernan Hilderin was still training. Diaz said to himself sternly, now all the pieces are in place. If you think you're capable, then come. Heroes, I will take revenge for the humiliation of my past life. At that time, outside the distant forest, Hillen looked ahead and said, Granada, we finally made it. Mount Ergest was right before their eyes. That night at Holton Walk Station, preparations were underway for the heroes' journey. Inside the great hall, the heroes' laughter and chatter rang out. Hillen Cargill politely said to the fortress lord, thank you for this wonderful feast, my lord. He smiled and nodded in response. You flatter me, hero. I am honored to be recorded alongside you in the annals. The man replied warmly, thank you for saying that. Then the fortress lord stood up and reached forward. You should say a few words, Hillen. Hillen Cargill froze, about to refuse. But the lord didn't allow it, quickly urging, come on, they're waiting, it will boost morale. Seeing that, he reluctantly agreed. With that, the fortress lord shouted so everyone could hear, everyone, Hillen Cargill will say a few words. Immediately, the heroes stopped eating and talking and focused on Hillen. He smiled and cleared his throat softly, then stood and said solemnly, comrades, heroes, nobles, knights, mages, mercenaries, merchants, and everyone else, the long-awaited heroes' expedition has finally reached its final stage. The demon lord may be intimidated by our march, by those who answered the call of justice. That may be why he hasn't sent any monsters here, but we must not lower our guard. After a long road, our preparations are finally complete. Tomorrow is the decisive moment. We will make that foolish demon lord pay for daring to abduct Princess Ernan of Hilderin. Who are we? Who are the masters of this world? We will remind them of those truths once more. For justice, the heroes were invigorated and shouted with full spirit, for justice. Now eat. Granada watched the scene, face thoughtful. As the demon lord predicted, the number of heroes neither increased nor decreased. Hillen Cargill's reputation had carried the heroes' expedition this far. He had secured support from merchant groups and eased the tensions of mercenaries who were thinking of deserting, persuading them to continue to this point. The last time I saw the tower, it was completely empty. Will this raid end up destroying it? Should I strike the backs of those heroes now? No. What am I thinking? If the expedition succeeds, that's even better for me because I'll be free. Get a hold of yourself, Granada, go take a breath and report to him. After calming down, he went out onto the balcony to contact Diaz. We've arrived at Holton. After resupplying, we'll head up the mountain tomorrow. The man on the other end heard the situation and ordered, understood. Once you leave Holton, do not contact me again. And there are many things you need to be on guard against. Be careful of the snow when you go up the mountain. Don't let your guard down at night. And finally, when they enter the tower, keep your distance from it. After those warnings, Granada was stunned. What does that mean? What is he saying? While still frozen by his master's orders, he was asked by Hillen Cargill, what are you doing here all by yourself? Granada jumped, quickly hid the contact note. Hillen, it's nothing, just getting some fresh air. He handed him a cup of fruit wine and cheerfully asked, everything all right? Want a drink? This is fruit wine the elf clan likes. Granada politely accepted it. Thanks. Hillen stepped over and stood beside him. You seem worried about something. Granada blurted out his question. Can we really defeat the Demon King? He answered with another question. You're worried too? Granada, he replied decisively, of course now that we're here. Hillen looked at the face reflected in his cup and said honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know either. Granada was stunned by that answer. What? Hillen continued in a melancholy tone. Although people trust and follow me, conquering a Demon King's tower is always extremely difficult. It has never gone smoothly. Granada smiled faintly to encourage him. But didn't you defeat the Lust Demon King and absorb his power? Compared to him, the new Demon King should be much easier. That reminded him, no one knows how you killed the Lust Demon King. Tell me your heroic tale. He opened his mouth but fell silent for a long moment. Then Hillen laughed happily and replied, only because I have brave teammates. Teammates like you, Granada, always at the front dealing with the monsters. I'll be the vanguard, so protect my flanks. If we work together, we'll definitely win. He seemed persuaded and agreed. Leave it to me. Hillen Cargill quickly led Granada inside. Let's go in. The fortress lord wants to hear about your journeys. After he went inside, Hillen secretly broke into a sinister smile. Hillen gently kissed the ring on his finger, thinking, that's right, I was with brave comrades, take care of me this time. Granada the elf. Early the next morning, the heroes began marching out of Holton Walk. They chanted as they marched, the heroes have begun their resolute march. Long live Granada, long live Watton. Long live Hill and Cargill, Mount Ergest the Gorge. Before long they arrived. A female hero said, I was worried we'd march to the mountain and find nothing here. The two-haired hero replied, the snowfall isn't heavy and the weather's clear. At this rate we'll reach the tower with no trouble. She excitedly predicted that the god of victory was on their side. Elsewhere, the hero with the mace laughed, I heard disaster-level monsters are everywhere. Are they all hibernating? The sharp-faced hero replied casually, with Hill and Cargill here, even the monsters should be scared. No sooner had he finished speaking than a purple liquid fell onto his head. The sharp-faced warrior shouted in panic, huh, what is this? Ghouls. Ghouls on the cliff, how did he get hit so hard? Hillen quickly drew his sword and ordered the troops. Finally, they revealed themselves. All troops, assume battle formation, don't panic and protect your nearby comrades. The gorge isn't long, knights cover the mages and fall back. Suddenly, Watton reported from behind, Hill and Cargill, there's an ice colossus appearing ahead. He startled and immediately reacted. What? Everyone, fall back, only seconds later. The ice colossus had appeared before them. Hill and Cargill ordered with a stern face, Watton, while I fight the ice colossus, everyone withdraw from the gorge. He heard that and gaped. What, you'll fight it alone? Hillen just reassured him, it's fine. Then Hill and Cargill leapt high into the air. The action drew the ice colossus's attention. Its eyes flashed a bloodthirsty red. He smiled arrogantly. An ice colossus couldn't be stronger than the lust demon king. The ice colossus slammed its massive hand down to crush Hillen, but he nimbly evaded and jumped onto its hand. The ice colossus struck the wall to throw Hill and Cargill up, and he took the chance to run upward, the sword in his hand beginning to emit a bluish glow. At one moment, Hill and Cargill widened his eyes and thought. Now, then it was sliced to pieces into 100 shards. He shouted to the remaining troops, hurry, everyone run now. The other heroes quickly grabbed their weapons and ran to escort the mages behind them. Run, support us, the pass is blocked, move quickly while you still can, keep running. The ice colossus's body was now shattered. It collapsed onto the cold, snow-covered ground. After escaping the danger, the band of heroes panted heavily. The scar-faced hero slumped down, exclaiming about the dozens of ghouls and an ice colossus taller than the cliff. This place is terrifying, humans really shouldn't come here. The blonde hero sighed in worry, even the Demon King's tower isn't as dreadful as this. The blue-haired hero tried to reassure them. We barely had any casualties. Without Hillen, the losses would have been far worse. I heard he killed the Lust Demon King and absorbed his power. Can he really match a Demon King? The blonde asked. Because he once killed a Demon King, he must be stronger, right? He laughed at that and said, you're right, if we keep trusting Hillen, we have nothing to worry about. Granada sat apart, resting and thinking. Indeed, if it's Hillen, perhaps he truly could defeat a Demon King, right? While they rested, the Orc clan revealed themselves. Watton complained wearily, there's no time to rest. Granada, on high alert, asked, Peul Orc. Hillen grew even more vigilant. I can sense magic power, they belong to the Demon King. The Peul Orc chieftain arrogantly looked down with a sneer and said, welcome, foolish heroes. Watton immediately commented, they're easy targets, I'll wipe them out at once. Granada turned his attention elsewhere. Wait, Hillen, this is a bit. A sudden memory of Diaz's warning flashed through his mind. Be wary of the snow, which drained the color from his face. Don't tell me that's the warning. The Orc King now broke into a cruel smile. Not one of you stood a chance. Besides, Diaz didn't even mention where the tower was. Then an avalanche crashed down onto the heroes. Granada grimaced and widened his eyes, thinking how on earth was I supposed to be wary of this? Demon King, that crazy bastard. He shouted as he ran, avalanche, everyone run. At that moment, Diaz, sitting in the castle, heard all their screams. And he smirked, welcome once again, heroes. This time I'll be hunting every one of you. Sitting in his chamber, Diaz thought to himself that he'd warned Granada about three things. First, avalanches. The heroes crawled out of the snow, groaning. Those Peul orcs really triggered an avalanche. It looked like many of our people had been swept far away. We can't even account for everyone. Damn it. Hillen firmly ordered everyone, we'll camp here and search for the swept-away heroes. Second, I told him not to let his guard down at night. When the Peul orcs and the Ice Colossus attacked, everyone panicked. With an Ice Colossus and ghouls, the Peul orcs were driving monsters toward us. Damn it, the Peul orcs are back. All troops prepare to fight. Granada struggled to deal with them, silently cursing inwardly. That damn Demon King, damn him, son of a... Diaz watched the heroes writhing and thought with pleasure. Avalanches by day, a horde of monsters by night. This pattern will repeat over and over, and before long they'll... Hillen panted heavily, utterly exhausted. 3 days after entering the range, their numbers dropped from 511 to 256. He looked ahead and asked tiredly, why has the hero's force climbed to the very highest peak of the range? His weary voice echoed across the mountain. The Demon King's tower isn't here. Shouldn't the tower normally be somewhere the heroes could easily find? Why isn't it here? A great question filled his mind. Where did they go? Watton now slurred out, we're giving up. Hillenkargel was stunned, turned and asked, what are you saying? He bowed his head wearily and admitted, this hero's expedition is a total failure. I'm sorry, but my men's lives come first. Hearing that, he ground his teeth and clicked his tongue. 6 days after entering the Ergest range, the heroes finally found Diaz's uncle's place, the Demon King's tower. Damn it, that bastard placed it in a low basin, numbers 256 down to 52. They burst through the doors, shouting in anger, wipe them all out. Right, after all, the first floor is just a bunch of weaklings. Diaz's warnings to Granada appeared in his mind. Third, when you enter the tower, remember to keep away from it. Awaiting the heroes were blue beams from Hillen's mana cannon as his comrades froze in place. What the hell? Diaz's warning echoed in Granada's head again. Because we deal with them with a single shot from the dwarves' mana cannon, numbers drop from 51 to 1. Diaz was a bit surprised to see that even so, it still wasn't enough to take down Hillenkargel, Hillenkargel now staggered inside, muttering, what the hell, what's going on? What the hell is wrong with this Demon King? Nothing about this has been normal so far. Suddenly Granada called from behind. Hillen replied joyfully, Granada, are you okay? He pretended and then said, yes, I almost couldn't dodge that strike. Hillen seemed to find his motivation again. Thank God, let's go up to the next floor. Granada stared in surprise. What, just the two of us? He raised his glowing sword and answered, I'm the hero who defeated the Lust Demon King and absorbed his power. A rookie Demon King can't match me, and coming with you is more than enough. Seeing that, he reluctantly agreed to follow. Fine, let's go together. Hillen, the second floor of the tower is empty. The third floor of the tower is empty. Hillenkargel growled angrily, this place should be crawling with monsters, but there's nothing. What happened to this tower? Granada darkened, thinking to himself that if floors 2 and 3 are completely empty, then, he seemed to grasp Hillen's meaning and continued, anything could suddenly appear. When they reached the 4th floor, Hillenkargel froze at the sight of flowers and foliage everywhere. What the hell is this? Nothing on floors 2 and 3, yet a garden on the 4th, Granada cursed inwardly. Damn it, he kept wondering, are we really inside the Demon King's tower? He sighed, it doesn't feel like it at all. Suddenly someone approached, and both of them flinched. Look, somehow you managed to climb up here too. Hillen spun around in shock to see Ernan appear wearing a mask, looking incredibly cool. I am one of the 4 heavenly kings. The Demon King's guardian, I the Dark Elf Sage, will be your opponent. Granada rolled his eyes at her flashy entrance. Oh my god, what now? Even Hillen recognized who Ernan was. Princess, why do you look like that? Hearing princess, he silently decided he would quietly retreat now. Seeing she was about to be exposed, she protested, I'm not a princess, I'm the Dark Elf Sage. Behold the power of darkness. Hillen stared at the magic before him, murmuring, it's the highest tier spirit magic only Princess Ernan can cast. If she's being controlled, she couldn't perform it. Fuelorks ambush with avalanches at night. The tower is hidden in a basin. The mana cannon is on the 1st floor. Floors 2 and 3 are empty. And on top of that, there's a crazy princess. Incomprehensible. Nothing makes sense anymore. Damn it, the princess is about to attack the heroes. Is someone coming to save her? Fine, I'll destroy them all. Just then, Diaz aimed from behind. You think you can do it. One blow from him blew dirt and sand scattering in all directions. Diaz strode forward, imposing like a demon king. At last I meet you, Hillenkargel. Hillen barely parried thanks to his sword. So you've finally shown yourself, Demon King. I didn't expect you to strike like a coward. In his head, he began calculating how much more power he'd need. Granada is over there. Before long, Hillenkargel appeared behind Granada. He urgently ordered, Granada, combine your strength. The other was still dazed, not understanding. What, but with. Suddenly, Granada's body aged as he felt his energy being drained from his body. By draining his energy, Hillenkargel healed his wounds and grew stronger than before. Didn't I tell you? Granada, as long as you're with me, there'll be no problem. Diaz glanced over and immediately recognized the ring on his hand. That artifact was. Hillenkargel sneered and admitted his nature. It is a forbidden item called the Elf Devourer. This thing turns an elf's eternal life into mana. Its drawback being that once activated, the elf will soon die, so be it. Right, Granada? I mean, it's for the greater good. He gets trampled and ends up weak and feeble. "You fraud, and Guy Quan too," he said with a pleased smile. "I like that petty, lowly side of you. So if I remove that ring, you'll become weak again, right?" Hillen was a bit surprised, then provoked. "What? If you can do it, go ahead and try, you fool. Even the Lust Demon King couldn't remove this ring." Dias calmly called Gordon. A clean slash came down, and he stared in shock at his own hand. My hand? What happened to my hand? I can't sense any presence at all." Gordon behind him exuded lethal intent and warned, "For a human, you're rude and noisy." Hillen quickly leaped out of position, then backed far away from him. He grimaced, thinking, an upper-tier demon race. Even with an artifact, I'm beaten by an upper-tier demon. A hand gently rested on Hillen's shoulder. Dias smiled like a proper demon king and said, "You're not going anywhere." He turned his head. "I should dodge, but I'm so small, standing as if before the maw of a monster." It made him unwillingly cry out inwardly, "This is bad. What the hell is this demon king?" He lunged and hurled a sphere of darkness at Hillen Cargill. "Time to take a beating." Hillen Cargill's eyes widened. He could do nothing. The dark sphere produced a thunderous explosion. As the dust settled, Hillen lay flattened on the ground. Dias looked at him and sighed. The Demon King aura had been stripped from him. "Impressive, you still live, huh?" He grabbed him and threw him into the prison, along with the unconscious humans outside the door. Gordon quickly acknowledged the order. At once. Granada was now dried out and weak, mumbling, "I can see heaven." He hurried over to tend to him. "You did well, eat this." After a while, Granada finally came to. He sat up in astonishment. "I'm fully recovered." And looked at Dias, puzzled. "What happened? Did he just use a spirit blossom on me?" At that moment, Dias was handing out rewards to Ernan. "You take the spirit blossom too," she accepted happily. "Thank you, sir." Dias also rewarded Loger. "You did well too, dwarf. I allow you to dismantle the tower." He rejoiced and shouted, "Thank you, Demon King." With things settled, he gave everyone brief instructions. "All right, restore and maintain the floors you've been assigned." Granada watched his retreating figure in admiration. After such fierce fighting and he's still fine, truly worthy of being a Demon King. Seeing Ernan lost in thought, he asked Han, "What's wrong, princess?" She pondered, touching her chin. "It's nothing. I'm just thinking the Demon King looks tired." Just as she suspected, Dias was sprawled on the floor here, panting. Nearly so. A Demon King must not reveal weakness. But that damned human Hillen turned out to be one of the 10 stars strong enough to be like this. The 10 stars are the 10 strongest heroes on the continent. Although Hillen Cargill is one of them, he's among the weakest. Lying on the floor, he quietly reconsidered his moves this time. "To be honest, I've rarely used any demonic power to boost myself in this life, partly because there weren't many points to spend. If Hillen Cargill had been at full strength, I would have lost. My plan was to drain him, provoke him, and throw him into panic. Because of everything that happened, his judgment narrowed and he exposed a weakness. As a result, my full strength strike hit him. And for the moment, I achieved a perfect victory without following the Demon King's usual standards. This never happened before. I was able to successfully change fate." Dias frowned with resolve. "I can do this. I can change the future. I can get revenge on those damned heroes." At the same time, at Holton Walk, reporters kept grilling them. "What nonsense is this? Do you mean the heroes gave up because they couldn't find the tower?" At the Holton Walk press hall, they continuously raised cameras and pressed investors for explanations. Who will be held responsible for this failure? Watton, holding the mic, answered to everyone, "We haven't failed. There's still hope. Lord Hillen Cargill and the other heroes haven't given up. They're still searching for the Demon King's tower, so if you give us a little more time." News about the new Demon King quickly spread. Across the continent, the King of Hilderan received the news and flew into a rage. "Damn it, that Hillen Cargill, he bragged so much. Now what? If he can't rescue my princess, he'll be executed." A dwarf came to report, "Your Majesty, regarding the hero's journey." Liu's Werft snapped angrily, "I don't care, fine Loger. The story has been distorted and exaggerated. They say Hillen Cargill never returned. Some say he's dead. The world is plunged into deep mourning. And because of that, Dias's mana points quickly accumulated. Cut to the Heroes Guild headquarters. The high-ranking members of the 10 stars raised a weighty question. Could Watton have been at least a little deceitful in his statements? He answered seriously, "Yes, I swear on my honor I'm telling the truth." Hearing that, the 10 stars began to discuss. "This is a serious matter. However, since we don't know the identity of the new Demon King, we should be cautious. Hillen Cargill is one of the 10 stars. He can't be taken down so easily. We'll wait 10 more days for news from him. If there's still nothing after 10 days, all the heroes on the continent, 728 in total, will launch an all-out attack to destroy the new Demon King." Meanwhile, in Dias's dungeon tower, Dias strode slyly, inspecting each prisoner. When he reached Hillen's cell, he didn't spare praise. You're awake, even your recovery ability is extraordinary. He looked up and asked bluntly, Demon King, if you spare my life you must want something from me, don't beat around the bush, get to the point. Dias chuckled with pleasure, good that you're so direct, become my subordinate. At that, Hillenkargel's face went blank like a goose and he asked back, what, seriously, did I hear that wrong? He immediately dropped a heavy bag of gold coins in front of him. A hero's journey costs a lot, right? Food for hundreds, security expenses, lodging, guild fees, armor, weapons, and even premium supplies. Normally those costs are covered by investments from merchant groups and the nobility. If the Demon King is defeated, the heroes' lives turn a new page. But if they fail, they'll be buried in debt. That's the price of sponsored heroes. This time, all the investment money was concentrated on a single person, the captain of the hero party, Hillen. In other words, that means you. Hillen hid his surprise and analyzed the situation in his head. That's right, even if I escape from here, I'll be labeled a failed hero and forced to live in hiding for the rest of my life while debts chase me. He looked up and cautiously asked, how did you know that? Granada spoke up from the side, I told him. Seeing him, Hillenkargel shouted, Granada, you betrayed us. He snapped back in turn. After what you did to me, you still dare say that, you fraud. And from the start, I was on the Demon King's side. Dias quickly stepped in to cut off their exchange. You failed because there has never been a Demon King like me, but once I break the Demon King's standards, you'll adapt and find a way to conquer our tower. However, if one of the strongest heroes secretly interferes with those plans, can humanity succeed? Armani's orb, Hillenkargel, eyed the sphere in his hand warily. What's that? Dias explained enthusiastically, this is a magical device used to control my subordinates. Once it enters the body, it immediately attaches to the brain. If you harbor ill intent toward me, I'll detect it at once and I can blow your brain apart with a gesture. It's quite expensive. If this orb can't integrate with your body, I'll take that as refusal and kill you. There are plenty more useful heroes anyway. Hillen hurriedly protested, wait, a hero as strong as me is immune to mind control magic. The moment that orb enters my body, it'll disappear. It's not my fault. Granada and Dias both broke into sly smiles. A hero who can nullify his own mental defenses, did you hear that? He felt uneasy and turned pale, shouting, you mad elf, aren't you ashamed? Granada retorted angrily, you're the one who should be ashamed. Even as Hillen resisted while being forced, you'll only waste a valuable magical device. I will never accept being a subordinate. Someone roughly forced the orb down his throat, clamped his mouth shut, and made him swallow. Immediately, Hillenkargel's mind went numb. Watching him writhe, Granada wondered, he's so stubborn, if he dies, what will you do? Dias replied calmly, don't worry. A greedy man treats his comrades as disposable items. For money, he will never sacrifice himself. He ground his teeth and cursed, damn it, now he's been forced into the Demon King's subordinate state. With matters settled, he left the prison. Gordon came over to report in detail. Your Majesty, although you have made Hillenkargel your subordinate, with a massive debt of 100,000 gold, his activities will be severely restricted. The gold you spent earlier to buy mana points amounted to only about 2,000 gold. That's equivalent to a year's income for a small nation. How do you intend to raise money? Dias smiled and said, it's time to send a message, leaving you utterly curious. What? He continued, I'm talking about the annual gathering of the Demon Lords. A round-table meeting of the Tower Alliance appeared in Dias's mind. In my previous life, I never attended because I found the Demon Lords assembling together disgusting. Thinking that, he smiled with delight. The other Demon Lords have survived in Erin for a long time. Surely they've amassed a great deal of treasure. Gordon gasped, Demon King, are you going to trade mana points for money again? The image of his past self shouting that flashed through his mind, what I would have said before. But after confronting the heroes directly, I realized that if we followed the Demon King's standards, we wouldn't have been able to defeat the heroes. Gordon carefully turned to report. An invitation from the Tower Alliance had been received. Dias laughed as if it had been part of his plan all along. Let's go, we'll trick the veteran Demon Lords out of their gold. Gordon silently resolved that he now had to admit he fully trusted the Demon King. He shouted, yes, your majesty. Then Dias and Gordon went to attend the Demon Lords meeting at the Tower of Intrigue. On the 13th floor, the Demon Lords meeting room was already fully assembled. Dias walked in casually. Looks like I'm not late for the appointment, am I? Everyone gathered this early. Are you all plotting something behind my back? Upon hearing his voice, San, the Wolffolk Demon Lord, grumbled at Burz Dias. Beside her, Renia Soldine, the Black Flame Demon Lord, cast a curious look and spoke. That person was Ugur Belvek, the Titan Diamond Demon Lord, who openly showed contempt. The insolent name that dares insult the classic demon lord has appeared. Only Jason Kochman, the trickery demon lord, stood to welcome him. Welcome, Burz Diaz. Back to the protagonist's perspective. He just arrived and already mocked the whole bunch. You idiots bringing up the classics again, isn't that humiliating for the title of Demon Lord? Saying that, he secretly calculated. Of course I know this approach fits Erin. Sure enough, after his remark, the big guy Uger Belvec couldn't hold back his anger, stepped forward and shouted, "You idiot, rookie like you dare to swagger and lecture about Erin." His attitude only deepened Diaz's disdain. With a few words I can easily tell what they're thinking. Over here the murderous intent is so blatant, unaware of what the protagonist is thinking. The third-ranked one shoved his face close to Diaz and challenged, "Idiot, don't you know I'm the only leader here? If you want to die, I'll oblige you right now." Seeing that, Diaz's blood boiled and he shot back, "Just try it, if you dare." Just as the two sides were about to clash to the death, suddenly a clap of hands rang out, and immediately the murderous intent on both of them vanished completely. "Lord Uger, Lord Diaz, this is a unity seminar. Please don't ruin the atmosphere like that." That single light clap made Diaz reassess Jason Kochman's ability. In an instant, the killing intent of two demon lords dissipated, no magic involved. What trick did he use? The power of that man, could it be the power of this tower? Thinking that, he slowly stepped forward and nodded. "All right, thanks for cooperating," Jason replied cheerfully. Meanwhile, the protagonist kept pondering the power Jason used. If it's the tower's power, it might just be tower mana. Best not to speculate without evidence. For now, I won't lower my guard. Over here, the white-haired one, Hohen, seeing things had calmed, began the meeting. "Let's start the Unity Conference. Everyone may now speak freely." Thinking that, Diaz replied coldly, "It's nothing important." Finally, Demon Lord Draxen spoke first. "Then first I want to ask you this. Diaz," he looked at you full of murderous intent, "where is Hillen Karjal right now?" Faced with that question, Diaz remained calm as if nothing had happened. After a moment's thought, he finally answered, "Hillen Karjal." Cut to the position of the secretary Gordon. He received the same question at that moment. "What happened to Hillen Karjal? Is he dead?" The horned girl asking is the deputy general of the trickery demon lord. The nodding eye beside her is the deputy of the beast demon lord. To that question, Gordon awkwardly replied, "I don't know, he hasn't come up to the tower yet. He's probably wandering somewhere on Mount Ergist." "Don't ask me," another burly man cut in curiously. "A demon lord's tower should be placed somewhere obvious." Gordon answered, "Our tower isn't like that." This made the red-haired woman seem to consider something. Could the rumor be true, your demon lord? Back in Gordon's view, he still couldn't accept his own demon lord's predictive ability. Sure enough, just as the demon lord had said. He recalled Diaz's prior instruction. If the other deputies ask about Hillen Karjal, just say you don't know. I'll use him as a spy, so absolute secrecy is the top priority. But oddly enough, even though he knew the demon lord was right, and even though he fully understood it, thinking of that made Gordon's face flush as if it might explode at any moment. Yes, the demon lord I serve, he's stubbornly arrogant, refuses orders, and the moment you look away he gets up to all sorts of crazy things. If that's the case, why doesn't he just do everything himself? Though he said that outwardly, inside Gordon was secretly thrilled. Why did he feel so comfortable? He couldn't understand it. Around him, the others agreed completely, which surprised the secretary a bit. I get it, I can sympathize with you. Really, why are all demon lords like that, my demon lord?" At that point, Gordon felt moved to tears. It turned out he just needed some consolation. Returning to the meeting, Uger continued to press. "So now you expect me to believe that of you? Hillen Karjal came to the place and you didn't even build your tower on the mountaintop? Who are you kidding?" The protagonist retorted, "Where I build my tower is my business." On the other side, Jason kept smiling and asked, "So the knights still eyeing towers haven't changed, right? Yet Lord Burz left his tower and came here. The miserable fate of a demon lord who loses his tower. You must have learned that at the Demon Lord Academy, haven't you? I was the top graduate in Academy history." Responding to the taunt, the protagonist remained calm as if nothing had happened. "Don't worry, my tower will protect itself." Saying that, a vein popped on his forehead as he reassured himself. He's been annoying ever since, that trickery demon lord. Ignoring his thoughts, Jason apparently didn't question further after hearing the answer. "If you say so, I understand. I won't press the matter." Elsewhere, Demon Lord Draxen didn't seem ready to let it go. "You think Grand Duke Arkanen will let this slide? What if that old man says something? Are you joking?" Thinking that, Diaz's tone shifted slightly as a warning. "Draxen, are you hiding something? Forget it." Draxen hurriedly dropped the subject and the perspective returned to the protagonist. He felt not the slightest worry about being exposed. Even if you beat me to death, you have no way to verify truth from lies. Though it can't erase their doubts, it's better than being exposed. Don't forget the main priority of coming here today is to gather 100,000 gold. After that, the Demon Lord's dialogue continued, but Diaz did not actively participate. Though also a Demon Lord, the hierarchy was clear. The Trickery Demon Lord was clearly among the top here. I must find the Demon Lord I need. To achieve my goal, I'll gather information by observing them. Ah, all right. Renia at that moment also looked in his direction. Diaz noticed that gaze. Then on the balcony of the 13th floor of the Tower of Intrigue, Diaz spoke up. Lady Demon Lord, is something the matter? She answered without bothering to turn around. It's not a secret. Since I heard the rumor, I've wanted to speak with you privately. To him, the protagonist, she said with curiosity. That's right. I partly agree with your view, Renia said as she turned toward Diaz. The answer inevitably surprised the protagonist. Are you serious? He asked himself. Had Renia ever said that in his previous life? Renia seemed to notice Diaz's puzzlement and immediately explained. Don't misunderstand. I don't disdain the Demon Lord traditions like you do. On the contrary, I quite revere them. But they must be applied flexibly depending on the situation, especially here in Erin. That's why I wanted to meet you once. At least it's easier to talk than with those idiots. So now that you've met me, what do you think? Not bad. And you look better than I imagined. Thanks for the compliment. Then Renia produced a small orb and tossed it to Diaz while instructing, this is my personal communication channel. If you need advice, contact me anytime. Just don't insult the Demon Lord traditions in front of me. I'll reluctantly accept you. I hope you don't disappear too quickly. Someone behind the protagonist asked curiously, if you want to talk, we already have the Trickery Demon Lord for that. Renia calmly replied, he's hard to read, but he's still better than those two idiots. Diaz watched Renia's retreating figure, deep in thought. Although she couldn't fully trust me yet, Renia Soldine was an unexpected gain. Meanwhile, at Diaz's tower, Princess Ernin cheerfully brought a plate of cookies to invite the dwarf uncle. Lord Loger, please try some cookies. Loger was a bit surprised to see her bring snacks. Princess, cookies? Are there snacks in a Demon Lord's tower? The princess explained the ingredients were bought by the Demon Lord and I had the elemental help with the baking. A genius elemental mage, indeed. Loger nodded in admiration. Then the eager princess invited the uncle to taste. Loger thanked her and quickly took a piece, inwardly not expecting much. The princess had never done anything by hand before. Had she really baked this herself? If it's not good, I still have to praise it. But the moment he bit a small piece, his eyes widened as if startled. Impossible. This is brimming with mana, an unimaginable flavor. I've never tasted cookies this good, truly a heavenly taste. Seeing his reaction, Princess Ernin hurriedly asked, how is it? Loger replied with a face still dazed, unable to come back down. How on earth did the princess do it? Ernin proudly explained, I mixed a bit of mana herb into the dough. It's perfect for your palate. Indeed, these cookies are made by Princess Ernin herself. Learning the origin of what he'd just eaten, Loger was even more astonished. Such cookies, you're giving them to me? No wonder my mana keeps surging. The princess gave him a mischievous smile. This is a gift to make friends. We'll be seeing a lot of each other. Indeed. But as Loger was about to say something, the princess interrupted. I wonder if Granada will like them. He'll probably go crazier than I did. Loger commented, really? Then does the Demon Lord like them? Ernin smiled in a way she'd never shown before. Back at the meeting, after stepping into the inner chamber and finding no one, he asked, has everyone left? Only Jason remained there. Yes, the Unity Conference has concluded. If you feel regretful, would you like another cup of tea with me? Regretful me. Diaz wondered. The Trickery Demon Lord then spoke seriously. You need a lot of human wealth right now. Diaz froze at his words. What are you talking about? Where did this information leak from? Jason smiled smugly. It seems you really need it. Human wealth, that is. Diaz widened his eyes in surprise at being guessed correctly, feeling instinctively annoyed. What do you mean? He wondered, full of suspicion. Where did he get this pile from? He replied indifferently, don't play dumb. Draxen already told me everything. He laid his cards on the table. We don't need to waste time on these pointless games. Make a deal, mana points exchanged for human money. At that tempting proposal, Diaz grew cautious. What are you scheming? Jason burst out laughing. Scheming? I have no scheme, Burrs. I just want us to cooperate amicably. A short time later, on the first floor of Burrs' tower, he instructed Hillen, take these 100,000 gold coins. Be careful, don't reveal the source of this money. Meanwhile, Hillen stood with his mouth agape, unable to believe it. Dias thought to himself that if Jason discovered where this money came from, he'd understand everything Dias was doing. In the worst case, Dias would become Jason's puppet. He also warned himself that, since he didn't know Jason's true intentions, there was no choice but to be as careful as possible. He also revealed to Hillen that he had turned the rest into Black Knights and Black Mages. The one in the middle is A-Man from the Golden Moon Trading Company. I only learned after we sealed the contract and gave orders. Use them to transport the money. They'll follow your commands absolutely. Now the group of Black Knights and Black Mages from Burr's Tower are under a forced black magic contract. They're cursing inwardly, damn it, have we really become the Demon Lord's hunting dogs? How humiliating, Lord Hillen, save us. He muttered in analysis, at least the members survived, so it's not a total disaster and the debts will be paid off. So I can go back to being a hero. Because of that, Hillen excitedly proposed, then that's perfect for me, let's be business partners. They cried out in panic, Lord Hillen. Dias glared coldly. Partners. Suddenly he felt a jolt like electricity through his brain. Hillen clutched his head in pain. While he declared, cut the nonsense, we're not partners, you're my slave. Seeing this, they sneered, serves him right, he's still stubborn. Slave, I didn't know you had that hobby, Dias replied coldly. I don't expect your loyalty, get out of here. At the same time, Ernan called out to Lord Hillen. She hesitantly asked, could you deliver this letter to my sister Alina? Hillen confirmed suspiciously, Alina, the 13th princess of Hilderin. Fine, but why does everything have to be tied to demon lords? It's your fault I'm in this mess. Ernan added, please forgive me, but I don't intend to return to the kingdom right now. I believe a hero of your caliber must know my family's secret. He considered the Hilderin royal secret he'd heard before. If it's true, it's somewhat understandable. Then Hillen agreed. All right. Meanwhile, at the Demon Lord's castle, surrounded by snow, Gordon voiced his concern. It's not that I don't trust the Demon Lord, but will that hero really follow orders properly? But he believed Hillen Cargill wasn't so foolish as to be indifferent to money, even if he didn't seem that way. Dias also observed, nodding how plainly the typical vulgarity of a man obsessed with money showed on his face. Not only that, he also noticed that the man wasn't exactly noble. Dias sensed that Hillen Cargill might be what he was aiming for, not honor but fame. Dias concluded clearly that he craved attention, which explained his active behavior. If I can control him like a secret gem, he'd make an excellent spy. He admired inwardly, Lord, you've really studied people thoroughly, haven't you? I can't just sit idle either. He was also eager, wouldn't it be fascinating if the hero destroyed human society from within with a subordinate of the Demon Lord? Gordon agreed, of course, my lord. At that moment, a knock sounded at the door, and she entered cheerfully. Would you like to try a cookie, my lord? Before he tasted it, Dias issued a threat. You've been coming into this room awfully freely lately. If it's bad, I'll lock you in a dungeon for a month. Ernan smugly told him to eat first. She nagged as she put it to his mouth. Human desserts are usually. But when he bit into it, Dias couldn't believe the flavor. In her heart, she rejoiced success. He at that moment crushed the armrest of his chair so hard Dias shuddered. Not bad for a human, Ernan said, surprised that he could handle it. He asked, pale-faced, did you mix monoherb into the cookies? The taste is dangerously strong. She nodded. Yes, you really notice. Dias probed, returning the reward I gave you. There seems to be something specific you want in return, right? Ernan beamed. Yes, actually. At the same time, Hillen's band of heroes had descended the mountain safely under Krudu's escort. Their journey continued. After reaching Holton Walk, they immediately set out for Hilderin via the teleportation magic circle. Meanwhile, Granada the restored order at the Red Fang mercenary base. Granada was furious. So you ran away at the first chance and left your captain behind? No wonder I couldn't find anyone. A mercenary wailed. It's not like that, Captain, listen to me. He screamed and lamented. My God, this is Urgist where even heroes fall. How could low-rank mercenaries like us survive? We had no choice. He grew angrier, and for that reason you abandoned your captain. As Granada prepared to act, a voice called out, Lord Granada. He snapped, irritated at being disturbed. What is it? The female hero Keed stepped forward to greet them. Finally we meet. I'm Keed, a female hero. Due to some circumstances, I couldn't join the hero's journey. But she expressed her desire to seize the opportunity now. Even if it's a bit late, please allow me to join the journey. Granada muttered in bewilderment. The female hero named, the mercenary cheered. She paid for our drinks while the captain was absent. Captain, have a drink too. You and he never miss a beat. Shut your foul mouth. After settling things, Granada replied, thanks for covering the drinks. But the hero's journey is over. Keed was shocked. What? He explained. Lord Hillen Cargill and the others have already left Holton Walk. She couldn't accept it. Impossible. Keed stubbornly pleaded, then forgive my presumption, please tell me the story of how they failed. He was embarrassed but thought inwardly that he could only tell what the demon lord permitted. Some time passed. Granada gave a brief account and that's how it went. After hearing it, she blurted out, damn, and the demon lord wasn't on top of the tower at all. Keed showed obvious disappointment. Then there's no reason for me to stay here any longer. Thank you for your time. Here's a little something as thanks. He watched her retreating figure with disappointment. A remorseful mercenary muttered that a rookie female hero like her would be lucky not to get stabbed in some alley. When Granada caught him trying to steal, he snapped, hands off, will you? At that moment, Keed put on a full face mask before heading out. He noticed a group of people silently tailing her. Granada sensed that something was off. A few minutes later, in a dark alley of Holton Walk, soldiers surrounded her and demanded, Princess, you must return, your betrothed is waiting. Keed struggled and shouted, no, I will not go back, I will live as a hero. Hidden in the shadows with his mask as camouflage, he thought to himself that he saw several big men in armor who made no footstep sounds. That hero is a princess? He wondered. Granada told himself he'd let them sort out their own problems. But a cold blade touched his neck just as he was about to leave. The soldier demanded, who are you? Why are you following us and why are you using suspicious magic? Granada panicked inwardly. This is the magical device the demon lord gave me. Damn, if they capture me they'll discover I'm the demon lord's subordinate. Receiving no answer, the soldier grew angry. Are you a spy from another kingdom? If so, we can't let you live. His spine went rigid as he frantically searched for a way. Demon lord, it seems I'm done for. What should I do? From afar came a loud explosion, and a shadowy figure appeared in an instant. The guards immediately stirred and rushed after Granada. Assassins, don't let him escape. Two of the princess's personal guards went into defensive mode. Assassins, princess, please step back. During the dangerous flight, Granada gritted his teeth and calculated. I'm the only fae here in Holton Walk. If I use Fae power, I'll be easily detected, but if I don't, I might not escape safely. The princess was surrounded by 4 guards. Princess, please step back, we'll handle this. No, I am a hero too. Finally, he acted, pinching his fingers together, he generated the power to manipulate nearby objects. There was no other choice, even if his identity was exposed here, he had to use his power. At that moment, a deep voice rang out unexpectedly. I was wondering why you're late. No sooner had the words fallen than a sharp sword was leveled at Granada, alongside a tremendous surge of power. Diaz hovered in the air on enormous black wings and spoke arrogantly, so you're shirking duty out here. He was surprised. Does his lordship, the demon lord, know who has arrived? Granada grabbed his wounded arm and complained indignantly. Look at this pitiful state and you call it shirking duty? Who knew you'd dismiss battle wounds as cured by spitting and make such a fuss? He hurriedly added, wait a moment. At this point, the guards finally reacted. The demon lord is here to kidnap the princess. We'll protect the princess with our lives. She shouted, don't worry about me, this is your chance to capture the demon lord. Seeing them like that, Diaz was rather surprised. Princess, I don't know about that, but they didn't believe him. Don't lie, if not, why would the demon lord be here? Granada also wondered, indeed, why is his lordship the demon lord here? He replied nonchalantly, just running an errand and happened to come across it. The answer was even harder to believe. An errand happened to, don't lie. Back earlier, facing Ernan, Diaz asked, all right, what's your request? She cheerfully answered, I need senile powder. He asked for clarification. Senile powder, the powder used to form pacts with spirits? Ernan confirmed, yes. According to old tales, several hundred years ago, a fae named Senile pledged loyalty to the human kingdom. At that time, the king ordered her to create a catalyst so humans could more easily form pacts with spirits. From that work came what is known as senile powder. Diaz looked at her puzzled. With talent like yours, why would you need senile powder? Ernan flamboyantly dabbed at her eyes and replied, you flatter me. As you know, there's almost no mana in the tower without senile powder, my spirits. He pressed on, you intend to form a pact with a new spirit, a high-rank spirit? Ernan pursed her lips and looked away, confirming, yes, possibly. Hearing that, Diaz relented. All right. He recalled past events. In his previous life, he formed a pact with a high-rank spirit at just 27. That news shook the continent, since humans who could bond with high-rank spirits were counted on one hand. Diaz began to piece things together. And now she plans to bond 7 years earlier. I plan to surprise you, so how did you know? Has leaving the palace and living in the tower for months affected her mindset? Another thought crossed Diaz's mind. If the tower's combat strength increases, that's fine. So he accepted Ernan's terms. Got it, I'm off. So he agreed to Ernan's conditions. Understood, I'm leaving now. Keed's face froze as she felt a powerful gust of wind trying to knock the helmet off her head. Immediately after, Diaz's light erupted with a sound, illuminating the area. Just as he thought everything was over, Diaz's pupils suddenly contracted, a bit stunned. Because before him Keed still stood firm, both hands gripping her sword pointed straight. "A hero is a hero, isn't she?" the guards cried. "Princess." She exuded a powerful presence and spoke decisively. The hero's aura carried the power to purge demons. Therefore, heroes are the natural enemy of the demon lord. Where I belong is not the stifling palace. Keed drew her sword in a horizontal arc. It's the ultimate battlefield of swordsmanship, Destined. Crescent cleave. The beautiful heroes face war tension. Crescent cleave is one of the most difficult sword techniques. Releasing an instant aura to slice an enemy in two is a glorious art taught only to the royal's strongest swordsmen. Keed suddenly thought of that fake old king. A low-ranked princess like me has little value, so being sold to another nation's king makes sense. But thinking that made her rage even fiercer, her eyes wide. No way could I marry that pervert. It's so unfair. How could I be forced to wed an old man? The heroine reflected on her transformation. That's why I trained day and night under the royal sword master until I bled to be recognized as a hero, not a princess. Keed's gaze locked onto him. If I capture the demon lord here, I can be acknowledged as a true hero. Her ambition grew fiercer. Then I can escape my father's orders. Keed's expression turned manic, her eyes fixed on a single thought. I'll choose my own husband. Suddenly Diaz reached out and gently grabbed the scythe-like motion she produced. Then he simply used a little force to shatter it. The sword chi was decent. Sure enough, the heroine went completely stiff, her face blank and slack. My secret technique. Not giving her time to react, Diaz conjured a blood-red sky filled with dark, swirling masses. A hero probably won't die from something like this, right? A sudden bad premonition hit her and she blurted out, "This is the demon lord." He smiled smugly. "A princess and a hero. Seems like you'll be useful in many ways." Hearing that, Keed finally began to understand where the story was headed. Panic escaped her lips. Wait. The guards rushed forward to protect their charge. "Princess, it's dangerous." Unfortunately, a second later, the entire village was rocked by a massive explosion. Armored bodies lay scattered everywhere and panicked murmurs rose. What was that explosion? I sense demonic energy. That's an attack by the demon tribe. Are demons in Holton Walk? Over there, someone is injured. Seeing the chaos left behind and no sign of Diaz, people began to panic. Where did he go? All the knights are down. Hey, are you okay? Quickly send for the healer. What the hell did the guards do? One guard, gasping his last breath, managed to say, "The princess was surrounded by the demon lord and several others." What? The demon lord was here. They anxiously tried to get more information from the dying guard. "Stay with us, don't close your eyes. The black flames are those Urgist's demon lord." Cut to the Tower of Burge, situated in a frozen, icy land. In a dark underground chamber, Keed lay unconscious on a bed of dry straw. Ernan leaned in curiously and asked, "Is this one's name Senial?" Diaz stood behind, helplessly correcting him. "She's Princess Keed Destined, the 9th royal daughter." He instructed carefully, "From now on she'll stay on the 4th floor. She's a bit injured, treat her. If you're competent, you'll be useful." She obediently replied, "Yes, but why did you suddenly kidnap another princess?" Diaz replied nonchalantly, "I picked her up since I saw her along the way." He explained, "To collect demonic points, you have to periodically kidnap a princess or prince." Ernan asked, "Demonic points?" Diaz was about to answer when he suddenly froze, fell silent, and cursed inwardly. "Damn, why did I tell this secret to a captive? Did I say it on purpose?" Diaz turned his back and didn't explain further. "No, I'll go find the Senial kit." She obediently answered, "Yes." Meanwhile, he remained oddly irritated for no reason. "Damn, seeing her so often makes me too comfortable. Wake up, she's just a prisoner." Afterwards, news that the Empire's 9th princess had been kidnapped at Holton Walk spread quickly across the continent. At the Heroes Guild headquarters, a solemn voice rang out in the hall. "Hero Hillen Karjal, can you swear that everything you've reported is free of deception?" Hillen bowed slightly and cautiously admitted his fault. "Yes, it's shameful, but I couldn't find the Demon Lord's tower. I'll take full responsibility for this failure." The others weren't harsh, no need to dwell on it. "If we blame heroes for every failed expedition, who will dare lead next time?" He replied, "Thank you for saying that." A superior mentioned an important matter. During the retreat, Urgist's Demon Lord kidnapped Princess Destined. The Destined Empire demands a hero's campaign. I want your opinion, someone who has experience with Urgist. Hillen sincerely offered his view. "Although we owe the 9th princess an apology, I couldn't find the tower either. Rather than launching a full campaign immediately, priority should be sending a small scout team to locate the tower. Instead of launching a campaign right away, the top priority is to use a small reconnaissance team to find the tower's location. Hearing that reasoning, the adjudicators mostly agreed. It made sense. A truly powerful demon lord would have no reason to hide. I agree, even if this contradicts the demon lord standards, a coward without strength isn't a major threat. Hillen's opinion won broad approval. I agree too. I also believe this demon lord is very weak this time. Only the chairperson remained silent, brooding in thought. But very soon the chair gave his order. Then follow Hillen Cargill's advice. Until the tower's location is confirmed, the hero's full-scale assault will be postponed. Hillen replied clearly. When the session ended, he turned and left, thoughts stirring. Demon Lord, is this what you wanted? Use my authority to quash the hero's campaign at its inception. I've bought us time, handle the rest yourself. Cut to Gordon, who had just finished briefing Diaz. That was Hillen Cargill's report. Got it, keep monitoring. He acknowledged the order. Yes. Call ended. Diaz fell into thought. He hadn't expected the Heroes Guild to be preparing a full assault. If not for Hillen Cargill, it would have been a major disaster. Turning him into an ally was the right move. He began calculating each player. Outside the tower, Hillen Cargill and Granada are active. Those two can be used to delay the hero's deployment. Also, his forced collection scheme, kidnapping Princess Jespine, was steadily accumulating demonic points. Using the Amani gem could maximize combat power. Diaz was also carrying out other work. The dwarf is reinforcing the tower so the first floor becomes sturdier. I'm expanding my power base as well. All critical elements were progressing rapidly. Once Princess Ernan signs a pact with a high-rank spirit, a mighty tower will be complete, one no heroes campaign could dream of touching. Thinking that, Diaz's face hardened with deep hatred. Then he could turn his gaze outward and begin true revenge on the contemptible heroes who killed him. The image of his previous innocent life leading to his demise surfaced in his mind. Diaz looked toward the distant view of the whole castle. To achieve that, he had to find Signal Powder. A clear, fresh aura emanated from there, home to powerful mages and heroes, the Magitech city of Amur. A risky idea lit up in Diaz's head. If he could obtain it undetected, it would be extremely difficult but possible. The city of Amur shone brilliantly, a sanctum of Magitech thrusting skyward with pristine white spires, bathing in the ethereal glow of azure mana circles and the collective power of the continent's greatest wizards and alchemists. However, below the stately central citadel, in the dusty outskirts and shadows that the light of progress barely reached, a rusty bell tolled. Burz Diaz stepped into a general store, his black cloak sweeping around his ankles. The air smelled of old paper and cheap herbs. Behind the counter, a shopkeeper with a scraggly beard was reading a paper. The 9th Princess Jespine was kidnapped right after the hero's journey ended. He snorted. What the Heroes Guild doing? The hero named Loger is now on the wanted list. Tusk, what a world. Seeing a customer, he plastered on a fake warm smile. Welcome, what are you looking for? Diaz answered calmly, stating his purpose. Signal Powder. He thought to himself, what a shabby old shop. The shopkeeper's eyes gleamed greedily at the opportunity. Of course we have it. This is the holy land of Magitech. It's a gathering place for battle mages and artificers from across the continent. That means a well-known shop will always have a warrior or a mage around. Even if you hide your magic, the risk of detection is very high. So Diaz came to a shop with very few customers and travelers. At that moment, he bent beneath the counter. He surfaced holding a glass vial filled with a glittering purple substance. You're in luck. Since you've come to our shop, you don't need to visit anywhere else. Exclusive, only 1 gold today. He stared at it, brows slightly furrowing. The Signal Powder I know is green. Why is this purple? The shopkeeper leaned forward. It's a newly developed Signal Powder. It was created in absolute secrecy at the Mage's Tower and hasn't even been released to the market. It's a super rare item. If you don't buy it now, you won't be able to get it. Many people are searching for Signal Powder, he thought. With a name like that, there must be a reason someone came all the way here to buy it. I can squeeze every coin from them. He watched the man's performance with a cold, analytical inner monologue. He realized, I can't go elsewhere because of my situation, and now he dares try to deceive me. A dangerous light flashed in Diaz's eyes as he weighed his options. Should I kill him? The door opened again with the rhythmic, heavy clank of metal. A figure in massive, gleaming silver armor burst into the shop, 2 bright red braids trailing from beneath the helmet. The shopkeeper turned toward the newcomer as if fortune had arrived and greeted her with a sigh. Did you have to travel all the way to a shabby place like this? He glanced to the side, eyes widening as he recognized who she was. The dwarf who had entered added if Lojer had any sense he wouldn't go to obvious places like this. She replied, "That bastard, it's because of him I'm like this. I had to travel all the way to a dump like this." The dwarf stepped up to the counter and asked the shopkeeper, "I'm asking you about someone. I'm looking for a man." Dea stood silently at the side, thinking, that fierce temperament and gruff voice, and above all those braids, no mistake, that's Liu's work. However, the shopkeeper waved dismissively. "You're looking for someone, but I have a condition. My memory gets worse if I don't make a sale." A vein throbbed on Liu's forehead. "What rubbish is this?" she growled, hand tightening on her sword. "You seem clueless. How dare you play merchant games with me?" The shopkeeper's face contorted. "Killing is banned in the capital. This shouldn't happen. If you threaten me, buy something first. Can't you at least buy something?" Liu stared at him dumbfounded. "Huh, are you insane?" The shopkeeper's desperation peaked. "If you buy an item, I suppose I could accept being stabbed and be happy," he said, and she laughed. "Ha ha, you are truly a humorous person. Fine, show me your wares." He seized the sales opportunity. "This is an item called Archa powder. Dwarf smiths say it's a very good product." Dea's expert eyes evaluated it immediately and thought to himself, "It's actually senile powder." She paid casually, "Very well, 3 gold. Seeing a fat sale, he flattered her. "Thank you, may you be blessed." She continued, "Now tell me, have any dwarves recently visited this city?" "His name is Lojer." The shopkeeper scratched his chin. "I've only heard the name once, but there's a shop called Roe Deer's Leaf by the central square. It's a famous spot every visitor to the Awaken kingdom stops by. If it's there, someone might know." She decided to turn and leave. "Not bad, let's go. You've shown an ugly side." Deas watched her go, surprised. Outside the shop, the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the street. Inside the shop, he said to the man, "Not bad earlier selling that junk for 3 gold. You have some nerve." The shopkeeper grinned, tossing a gold coin into the air. "Hey, thanks for staying quiet. She looks like nobility from a distinguished family. She can easily pay about 3 gold. He leaned in, eyes gleaming with greed. "You seem interested in business. If you give me about gold, I could teach you my secrets." Dea stared at the man, thinking to himself, what a terrible con artist. His human slicing sales pitch was pretty good. "I actually like it." He pointed a gloved finger at him. "Go to the Kim and Guyot Trading Guild. Tell them I sent you from the mountain and they'll take you in." The shopkeeper blinked skeptically. "You have ties to the Kim and Guyot Trading Guild? It's falling apart. Why would someone with a bright future like me go there?" Deas repeated, his eyes blazing with an overwhelming pressure. "Why should you go? Because the customer you just fleeced is Liu's worth." That realization shattered the shopkeeper's reality. "That customer was the mad princess, the mad scion of House Werft," he stammered. "What do you want?" Deas's shadow loomed over him, bathed in a holy golden light as he issued his ultimatum. "I told you, go to the Kim and Guyot Trading Guild. 1 gold fee. If you refuse, I'll bring Liu's here." The shopkeeper clasped his hands, tears streaming down his face. "Oh my God, please anything but that." But then his expression abruptly twisted into a sly smirk. "You think I'd fall for that?" He waved at Deas. "Who are you trying to fool right now? Get out of here. Try bringing her if you can. Even if she is mad, what princess would visit a dump like this?" Deas stepped out the door and called back, "She is here." After a moment, he brought her back, accompanied by a terrifying killing intent. A huge black shadow of a demon with burning eyes materialized behind Liu's, her aura erupting like a blazing inferno. "Oh," the shopkeeper gaped, his pupil shrinking to the size of a pinprick. A scream ripped through the shop as divine retribution descended. After a while, the streets returned to calm. Deas walked away calmly, holding a vial of bright green powder. Even a suburban shop sold ordinary senile powder. That con artist, whatever. Liu stepped outside and brushed off her side as she walked beside him. "You're still here, thanks. Because of you I got my money back, everything worked out." He asked, "What did you do to the shopkeeper?" Liu answered, a shadow crossing her face as she clenched her fist. "Unfortunately, this is a foreign land. I could only rough him up a bit. I should have ripped his heart out." Her subordinate trembled in horror behind her. "Our delicate princess is furious." He glanced at Liu's profile. She was still as eccentric as ever. "Wait, heart." A thought flashed through his head and he spoke up. "Come to think of it, you were looking for someone named Lojer. Is he a blacksmith?" Liu nodded. "You know him. Where is he?" Deas produced a necklace. Could this item be related? Her subordinate recognized it instantly, looking at the intricate gold emblem. "This necklace, it's one of Lower's early works. 2 months ago, I bumped into him in a rainforest in Ormoth. He was starving, so I shared some materials. He gave me this necklace in thanks. It looks like the work of a master craftsman, so I kept it. Her eyes widened. I owe you again. I'll invite you to drink at the palace for 5 days straight. But Deas watched Liu's, who was trembling with restrained excitement, and thought, calm down. Liu's held out a gold badge. I have to catch him before he leaves. Take this as thanks. It was a pass redeemable for the best gear in the Dwarven Kingdom. Deas reached out to accept. It looks useful, so I'll take it. Her subordinate asked, what will you do now? Liu's eyes burned with determination. I will contact my father and request reinforcements. I won't lose him this time. As Liu's left to plan the capture, Deas stood alone in the golden afternoon sunlight, before reverting. During this period, Draxon had found and absorbed the heart of a certain beast illusion. He gained overwhelming martial power. I only crave that now, for me, a new demon king. Spatial interference remains heavily applied if I fight Liu's. She's outfitted top to bottom with the best gear in a one-on-one match, even if I use my full strength. It's likely to be only a narrow draw or a slim victory. To avenge the heroes and survive in this dimension, I must increase my own power. So I'll send Liu's to Ormoth to the Beast Tower. Imagine the chaos. Liu's Werf the Madwoman clashing violently with Draxon Dolduf, the Beast Demon King. While those two tear each other apart, the Beast Illusion Heart will be mine. At the tower's center, bathed in the eerie light of a massive rotating blue hologram. After fusing with the Mana Illusion, the tower gained 2 new functions. Remote tower usage and item transfer. You gave the order, Gordon. Something has happened. I'll hand the tower over to you for a while. Gordon bowed deeply, solemn and devoted. Yes, my demon king, leave it to me. You shifted attention to a floating blue interface and selected a vivid green item labeled top grade, 10 units of senile powder with a delivery cost of 1,000 points. Send these senile powders to Princess Ernin. The scene cut to Princess Ernin holding the shimmering vial, eyes wide with delight and sparkling. Wow, top grade goods, did they really have to come all the way to the Akan Kingdom? Gordon stood beside her, cold and detached in dark attire, and replied, of course top grade. The Demon King personally acquired them, so handle with care. These are materials needed to form a contract with a high-ranking spirit. Meanwhile, on the 4th floor, the atmosphere was bleak and cold. Inside a stone training chamber, the princess kept a stern expression as she trained her, teaching swordsmanship so she could be used at full strength. I'll test her when I return. Amid a whirl of green training leaves with Gordon, her face twisted with determination as she shouted, I'll make you regret training me. Gordon retorted with a smirk, defeat me once first, then say that. A Hellforge with a delivery cost of 10,000 points. You ordered the Hellforge installed on the 1st floor and told Loger to head down to the 1st floor as well. Deep within the tower, the dwarf Loger stood before the blazing red behemoth of the new forge, his eyes genuinely trembling with joy. Steam hissed from the pipes as he cried out in ecstatic delight. My God, what is this? A furnace I've never seen. How does it work? And what's this? The cooling system looks like a living creature. We must be grateful for the Demon King's generosity. Yes, of course. I'll craft everything meticulously for the Demon King. Then Deas shifted focus to his military forces. What about the Peul orc? Gordon's voice sounded, accompanied by images of green-skinned orcs standing triumphant atop piles of monster corpses on snowy peaks. We've unified 3 tribes in total and doubled our numbers. They've developed enough to hunt most monsters in the Urgest Mountains. Burz Deas nodded in satisfaction. Good, manage the tower properly until I return. Gordon's image replied, yes, my demon king, I will not disappoint you. Whoosh, the scene shifted to the sky above a human city. You descended, your black cloak billowing behind you, thinking, so I can manage the tower directly without returning, a convenient function. Next, contact Hillen Cargill. Beep, the holographic screen appeared before you as you ran. Can you hear me? Deas answered at once. What's the matter? He thought to himself, why now of all times? Control of the Kim and Guyot Trading Guild is complete. From now on, the Kim and Guyot Trading Guild will be managed by Ammon, the Black Knight, and the Black Mages. Hillen rose, adjusted his coat, and reported his status. I, one of the 10 stars, provided support, so the Guildmaster yielded the seat to my son. I also confirmed that a single defeat won't wipe the 10 stars' reputation so easily. You replied curtly, well done. Next, send a message to Granada telling him we'll fund operations through the Kim and Guyot Trading Guild, so he should buy up every spirit slave on the continent. Hillen stared at the screen, stunned. Buy spirit slaves. Deas's eyes narrowed, glowing a sinister red as you added another directive. and I'll send someone to the guild. A con man named Jetasen, he'll be useful, so put him to work. Hillen blinked confused. What a con man? In a dark corner, a man wearing a beanie with a bruised face was cowering in fear. This is Jetasen. Daze's voice was malicious as you explained. Yes, he's the bastard who dared to con Liu's werft. I've tracked down all his personal information, so if he doesn't show up within a month, I'm planning to send an assassin to wipe him out. Jetasen clasped his hands, quietly sobbing in terror. The scene shifted to Holton Walk's sunlit training grounds where dozens of people practiced swordsmanship. Granada watched them and said into his communicator, "Really? You want to buy all my people?" "Yes, understood. I'll assemble them as quickly as possible." However, Granada felt conflicted deep down, sweat running down his face at the thought that saving his people would be good news, but thinking about dragging them into the Demon King's hands. He figured the Demon King probably meant to use them as sleeper agents like me. Did the Demon King deliberately give me this task, compared to enduring a lifetime of human slavery and dying that way? Serving under the Demon King is far better. Nearby, the blue-haired one spoke up. "Vice Captain, why are we learning the Spirit Tribe's sword techniques?" He swung his sword hopelessly. "I don't know. That hunchbacked old man ordered us to, so what can we do? He keeps bragging he's hundreds of years old." The blue-haired one added, "The captain doesn't seem to care. Let's run, Vice Captain." Another voice chimed in, "That's right, the vice captain was originally our captain, right? If the captain goes, we'll follow him." The group tiptoed away from the training field. Granada remained lost in troubled thought. Compared to a lifetime of human slavery, and dying that way, serving under the Demon King was far better. He raised his hand and a green aura appeared, freezing the would-be escapees in their tracks. Vines of light snared the vice captain, making him scream, "Captain, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Stop, don't humiliate me in front of the others." Sputter, "Why only me?" While he was blinded, his comrades were still wildly swinging their swords in the air. Hillen watched the chaotic scene on the screen and asked, "What's going on?" Granada quickly turned away to hide the punishment. "Nothing, so what does he plan to do now?" Hillen shrugged. "Who knows what he said? I think he said he's off treasure hunting," Granada repeated, confused. Treasure hunting. In a distant place within the dense, humid vegetation of the Ormoth Rainforest Kingdom, an ancient stone pyramid rose above the canopy. The Rainforest Kingdom of Ormoth. In the current Ormoth Rainforest region, Princess Liu's werft marched through the woods, disappointment clear on her face. The dwarf trailing her spoke up, "Princess, we've received an ultimatum from Ormoth. They ordered us to withdraw immediately." Liu's didn't stop and shouted back, "I still haven't found that bastard." He replied immediately, "We've checked every area Ormoth allows access to." She bit back, "No, there's still one place we haven't been." The dwarf stopped, eyes widening as he caught the implication. "What? Don't tell me you mean." Liu's gazed toward a dark, menacing mountain rising in the distance. "It's the Beast Mountain." Panic erupted among her troops. The dwarf waved his arms frantically. "No way, that's the Beast Demon King's territory. It's too dangerous." Liu's only snorted, a near-maniacal confidence spreading across her face. "It's fine. Anyway, they can't touch me. If they dare lay a finger on dwarven royalty, they'll be making war with every nation that uses dwarf-forged weapons." 200 years ago, someone affronted a dwarf prince and a demon king was toppled in a single punitive campaign. Remember, there's precedent, so they won't recklessly attack us. The dwarf, still terrified, argued, "But Lodger might not even be here. That man could have deceived us." Liu's eyes blazed. "Lodger could be here. This is an order to move. If you don't follow it, I'll have your heads first." The dwarf could only submit and replied, "Yes, understood." Meanwhile, atop the tower, someone bellowed a report. "My Demon King, Trouble Princess Liu's werft of the Dwarf Kingdom is advancing toward the Beast Mountain area." Draxen Doldorf growled in confusion. "What? Why is that mad princess suddenly going there?" His mind spun with paranoid thoughts. Could she have discovered the summoned beast's heart and come to seize it? No, security should have been airtight, right? Pure mana energy lies dormant beneath the layers of magic inside the volcano. An enigmatic power I wouldn't trade even for 10,000 spirit flowers. If I absorb that power, I'll command the strongest force. Excavation is in its final stage. Why now of all times? Draxen roared orders to his subordinates. "Stop her, don't let that princess get near. And listen, under no circumstances are you to kill her or allow her to be gravely injured." The Mikot subordinate looked worried, sweat beading on her brow. That'll be difficult, sir." Draxen glared downward. What did you just say? Back in the forest, the dwarf expedition was suddenly blocked. A muscular man with wavy long hair, wearing a golden crown and a red cloak, barred their path. He grinned wickedly. Do you want to die? Princess Leoi's Werft of the Dwarf Kingdom. This is the Demon King's territory. Entry is forbidden. This was Max Ormuth, the second Prince of Ormuth. He snickered down at her. The palace warned you, didn't it? There's a risk you'll be killed by the demon folk. Leois glared up at him, unimpressed, as if they could touch her. Make way, I won't return until I find Loger. Max flicked a mocking finger. No, the dwarves are truly foolish, he sneered. His face darkened and his smirk twisted into something truly sinister as he outlined his plan. 200 years ago, during the all-out war, the kingdom of Destined, located next to the Demon King's castle, profited greatly by selling war supplies to the heroes. As a result, Destined used those profits as fuel to grow into an empire. If you die here at the hands of the Demon King's forces, won't the same thing happen again? For the kingdom of Ormuth, Leois fell silent. Her pupils dilated as she realized the truth. The bastard's eyes widened with greed and murderous intent. Now it's our turn to reap those profits, kill them all, for the prosperity of the kingdom of Ormuth. Leois gritted her teeth as an aura flared. Anyone who wants to die, come on then, cowardly monkeys. Inside the tower, the Mikot girl continued reporting, the dwarves are about to be slaughtered. Draxen heard this and gaped. What? No, we must stop this. Those Ormuth bastards, they plan to kill Leois and blame it on me. If that happens, it will trigger an all-out attack like the one 200 years ago. Send the monsters and demons immediately and stop them. And make sure to rescue the dwarf princess at all costs. The forest became a chaotic battlefield, blood spraying as claws met steel. The dwarves were being slaughtered relentlessly. A burly Ormuth warrior swung twin blades through the air. The dwarves were being driven back, huddled behind their shields. Princess, the terrain heavily favors them. We don't stand a chance in a head-on fight. We'll break a path, please escape. Trapped behind the wall of shields, Leois said, damn it, I'll clear them out myself. Hearing that, he replied, no, princess, please stay calm. Max Ormuth saw them huddled, laughed loudly, and raised a spear glowing green. Pathetic, cowering behind your defenses, I'll finish this with a single strike. Massive green energy spiraled around his weapon as he prepared to throw it. Die. But at that moment, a burst of deep purple radiance erupted on the field, and a familiar gloved hand appeared, leaving Ormuth stunned, eyes bulging. Mana. Has the Beast Demon King's subordinate arrived? It's not a beast demon. From within the purple shroud, a calm, deadly voice spoke. Ormuth's attack wasn't my plan. Human interests are complicated. The black beacons parted to reveal Deas wearing a high-tech mask that concealed his identity. His eyes burned with a terrifying light as he stared at him. You will die here, Prince of Ormuth. The jungle air thickened with tension and the suffocating pressure of dark magic. Coiling black flames whipped across the battlefield, casting grotesque shadows on the warriors' faces. Max Ormuth, the second prince, stood poised with his spear raised, eyes wide with a mix of terror and reckless determination as he stared at the figure hovering in Deas' cloak. You are now turning into a marauder. Max gritted his teeth, his face twisted in a battle cry. High demon, kill the princess, I'll deal with that demon. His soldiers rallied behind the prince, raised their weapons, and shouted in unison. In an instant, the princess's voice rang out. Prince of Ormuth? Amid the chaos, Leois swung her colossal axe wreathed in golden light, cutting aside the Ormuth soldiers' strikes with terrifying ease. Max, still struggling on the ground, looked up and saw her. His eyes bulged in disbelief as she shouted, How dare you turn your back right in front of me? He watched her movements, sweat streaming down his brow as he realized her sheer physical power. How could a dwarf be that fast? However, Max had no time to focus on Leois. The choking purple air wrapped him like iron chains, his face drained and slick with cold sweat. I really have to deal with that crazy princess first. And that other one, did he hit me with demonic energy? Damn, he hit me that easily. Leois went completely berserk. Golden flames trailed her massive axe as she swept through the surrounding units, her eyes blazing with furious rage. She landed, thinking to herself, where are the demons? His mana suddenly vanished. Ormuth's soldiers looked around in confusion. One shouted, How dare a lowly dwarf attack our prince? Kill the prince's enemy. Leois bared her teeth and swung with annihilating force, roaring at them. You attacked me first, I will send you all off to serve my prince. Sensing danger, the heavily armored dwarf troops quickly formed a shield wall behind her. They braced and shouted the command, Protect the princess, don't let them near her. The dwarf soldiers answered with unmistakable, absolute loyalty. High above the slaughter, hidden among the thick branches of a giant ancient tree, Deas stood completely at ease. The The light from the explosions carved sharp highlights across his features. He watched the blazing dwarf princess tear the enemy ranks apart. A satisfied smile crossed his face as he turned his back on the battlefield. His dark cloak fluttered in the wind. He murmured to himself in a voice full of sly calculation, "It seems you won't die like that after all. Leois in that case take the bait." The story rewinds 5 minutes earlier, at the towering spire of the monster-covered tower. Inside his dark sanctuary, Draxen Dolduf the warlord jerked upright, his red eyes wide with sudden alarm. He sensed an overwhelming power. The demonic energy belonged to a demon lord. The Mikop beside him added, "This demonic energy is." Draxen raced to analyze the magic sigils, fangs bared as he growled. "Yes, it's not one of my subordinates. Another demon lord has sent a demon into my territory. Energy at this level is likely that of a high-ranking demon or above." He pieced things together, his expression darkening as he realized. While the dwarf princess and Prince Max Ormuth were fighting, another demon slipped in. "The timing is too perfect. I must verify this myself." He leaped from the tower into the dense forest and hurriedly questioned the subordinate outside. "What about the dwarf princess? What happened to her? And the invading demon?" The subordinate replied immediately, "My lord demon king, sorry to report. The princess has been surrounded by Ormuth's army." Draxen stared in utter shock. What? No way could the attack from 200 years ago be repeating exactly. But this wasn't a demon assault, it was a battlefield utterly dominated by a single, frenzied force. Liu spun like a whirlwind of death, her axe cleaved flesh and armor alike, blood spraying across the grass. The dwarf soldiers watched in horror at her fury. "Stop, princess, this has become a massacre." Draxen's wolves turned to him, whining in defeat. "The princess has handled it herself, so we couldn't save her. We're sorry." Draxen, utterly confused and enraged, roared at the pack. "Don't make me lose my head." His harsh words struck every subordinate like a blow, making the 3 wolves whimper. "Sorry, why were we attacked too?" A larger wolf then delivered the final, crushing news. "The second prince of Ormuth has been killed by the dwarf princess." Draxen stood motionless, watching the cowering survivors from Ormuth. His mind whirled with the political consequences. He glared at his inner circle. "If I kill them, they'll accuse me of the prince's murder. That damned dwarf woman." This was an opportunity to gain power, but the fallout from this arrest and killing isn't worth it. Although Ormuth is a small nation, it would be a huge problem if they erupted over the prince's death. He made a quick tactical decision and ordered the wolves, "Release the survivors and send them home. Those fools must return to report the truth so I won't be framed." The wolves bowed deeply. Draxen then turned his attention back to the original threat, his red eyes sweeping the forest edge. "Have you found the demon that infiltrated our territory?" The wolves exchanged worried looks before one answered, "We haven't located him yet." Draxen's wrath exploded. "Useless, why don't you use whatever brains and noses you have?" The wolves shrank back, whimpering, "Please forgive us, my lord." His anger cooled into sharp focus. He realized the truth. If the intruder is a high-ranking demon skilled at hiding, it's natural we couldn't find him. It seems it's time to use this. Darkness swirled around Draxen's horns as he activated his signature skill, sensory maximization, a technique that concentrates demonic energy into the sense organs to heighten perception. Through this technique, even traces of concealed magic can be detected. His vision shifted, revealing a faint red streak cutting across the sky, and his eyes locked onto it. "I see it, the trail of that demon." That bastard aimed at the dwarf princess. He followed the trail through the canopy toward a massive volcano. Confusion struck him and he blurted, "The princess, where did the dwarf go?" The wolves pointed in one direction. "She's gone there." Then the horrifying truth dawned on him, sending him sprinting at explosive speed, tearing through the forest with terrifying velocity as he cursed, "That demon king, it's a trap." While running, Draxen pieced together the enemy's overall plan. The dwarf princess attacking Prince Ormuth, even that earlier demonic energy, was a scheme to lure me away from that volcano. A high-ranking demon? No. The target the Demon King sent that high-ranking demon to seize was the heart core of a divine beast. Deep within the cavernous maw of the volcano, the heat was suffocating. Deus's wings unfurled wide and his inner voice echoed in his head. "This isn't ordinary lava. Energy from the divine beast's heart radiates all the way here. No matter how strong Draxen is, jumping down here is impossible. That's why they secretly constructed a system to drain the lava. I don't care, because the scales of the black flame dragon can move even within lava." Suddenly, a giant multi-eyed demon tiger leapt out and hurled a mass at him. Deus didn't even flinch. He teleported aside and regarded the beast with composed amusement. "Oh, a demon can detect me from this distance? The tiger's eyes widened in sudden terror as it recognized the power before it, the Demon King. He easily caught the giant tiger, smiling wickedly. "Come on then," the tiger thrashed in panic, "let me go." With a casual flick of his wrist, he hurled the enormous beast straight onto the molten rock. The tiger screamed. At the same time, Deas leapt down, a dark smile of victory widening across his face. That bastard Draxen, after absorbing a divine beast's heart in the past, his regeneration became insane. I wonder which divine beast's heart he absorbed, as he pondered. The magma began to blaze with a blinding, holy radiance, and a colossal form of pure fire rose up from beneath the river. His eyes widened in astonishment. The form was a corpse, a phoenix. A memory surfaced, taking him back to the dim library. When I was a student at the Demon King Academy, I read records confirming the phoenix's existence across different spatial planes. The phoenix can traverse dimensions from divine beings, becoming supreme dominant entities within their own dimensional realms. Though their powers vary, they share one trait. All demon kings who were fortunate enough to absorb a phoenix became powerful enough to etch their names into the history of the demon realm. He extended his clawed hand, a greedy, triumphant smile widening. "Thank you, Draxen. I owe my arrival here to you absorbing the phoenix in our past life, the only power I've envied. At last it will be mine." He absorbed the radiant core, and a massive inferno erupted above, shaking the volcano's foundations outside the cavern entrance. Draxen's chest heaved as he desperately tried to identify the mastermind. "Which bastard knew about my phoenix? Could it be Burz Deas? That bastard came here without gaining any benefit except lacking a high-ranking demon. Besides, his deputy commander being in the tower is not something a rookie demon king should know. I never neglect security." He lunged forward. They stared at him in surprise. "Demon King, why are you here?" Draxen barreled past the bewildered bear guards. He didn't answer. He shoved them roughly aside. His mind wildly ruled out suspects. Renia or Yuger? No, not them. Yuger isn't smart enough to devise a plan like this. Renia is of the Bluebone clan. The fire phoenix is like poison to her, so only one bastard remains. He roared as he interrogated those around him. "Is the divine beast safe?" The guard bowed respectfully. "What? Yes, my lord." But then the guard pointed toward the boiling lava, his face puzzled. But just now the tiger fell into the magma, and Draxen's world froze. The crimson ring in his eyes contracted to a pinprick. "What? No, bring him out at once. That bastard, he's trying to take my phoenixes." A guard tried to restrain him. "Demon King, what happened? Demon King, be careful, no." A catastrophic explosion of golden flames burst from the pit, flooding the cavern. Draxen's eyes opened to their fullest, bloodshot veins showing, filled with a fury beyond words. Far away under a peaceful sunset, his new companion and the dwarf princess looked up at the sky, unaware of the world's shifting balance of power. In the distance, Ganaza, the hero Hilan Karjal, and the first princess seemed to sense something together. As they looked up at the blood-orange sky, Draxen's monstrous roar shook the heavens, echoing with absolute certainty in his flawed conclusion. "Deas, you son of a bitch."
Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more awesome content.